Someone addresses Irina and tells her to pick up something. Shocked, she asks what it is. Her interlocutor replies that he brought her this trophy as a gift and asks if something is wrong. The main character, smiling, replies that everything is fine, but wonders if she can answer him honestly. The lady also realizes that her life has become so difficult since her reincarnation. Now she finds herself in a world full of intrigue and kidnapping, exhausted by war and infected with lust. This is a novel about the cruel and hopeless love of the Archduke of the cold northern lands called The Secret. The main character of this novel is named Ruslan Alexiev. He is the youngest master of sword and magic in the Empire. However, there was something else that set him apart from ordinary people. This guy loved to bully Kay, the main character, covering it up with love. And although they looked like the perfect couple from a romantic novel, well, not everyone is destined to live happily ever after. Then Duke Sordy appeared, dreaming of taking the throne and ruling the world. He decided to get rid of Ruslan. However, he had no magical powers or talent for fencing, so this man decided to make a contract with a demon. And for the sake of his new power, he sacrificed his own children. Ultimately, he transformed into a colossal demon and went completely mad. But Ruslan's love for Kay proved stronger, so they were able to overcome all the difficulties, and the main character thinks, "Isn't that great?" But now the girl understands that this was her thought until she found herself in the body of Irina Sordy. Not only was her father's will for her to marry for convenience, but a terrible end would also await her. She will be plunged into eternal sleep at the hands of her own brother, and at least that's how it was in the novel. Now the girl apologizes, but insists that she certainly doesn't want to die. The young man asks if she doesn't like his gift. The protagonist realizes she's been lost in thought and completely forgotten to answer, after which the lady says it's all wrong, but wonders who gives demon heads anyway. She regrets that such an answer will cost her life, and claims that they are simply very big. The guy then just smiles and tells the lady to offer him her hand. Irina asks why suddenly, but her interlocutor tells her to do it more quickly. The main character agrees, but wonders what else he has in store for her. Meanwhile, he places something blue in her hands. Irina asks what it is. Her interlocutor replies that it is a slime and he found it on the road. The girl, puzzled, says, "That's how it is," but realizes it's also a demon. The blonde man, meanwhile, wonders if something's bothering her. And the main character, with a smile on her face, replies that no, and everything is fine, because she really likes this slime. It's so gentle and soft. The guy asks if this is true, after which everything turns around for him, and also says that he is glad that she liked it. Irina thanks him, and the young man, heading towards the door, states that it is time for him to go now. When the guy finally leaves, the main character says that he could have captured these freaks too. Well, then she lies down on the bed and realizes that she will remove these heads herself later. The girl thinks about how hard it is to live in another world and how good it is that she knows where she is. Irina understands that this is the main privilege of getting there, and since she knows the original plot, she can change it. So let the vile Duke go away, because she will get out of there and live happily. Well, then the main character notices that the slime in her hand just moved and wonders if it's because of emotions. But she still claims that it seems like he calms her down because it's so pleasant to touch him. At that very moment, the girl jumps up from the bed and says that it's just calm. It's painful because why couldn't she be reborn in the body of the main character? Of course, she would have had to marry the main character, but she would not have been in any danger anymore. Therefore, the lady thinks, what kind of bad luck is this, and screams out why she was reborn in Irina's body. Then, the girl realizes she needs to stop envying the main character and pull herself together. Now that she's in danger, she needs to think about herself. The first point of the plan is that until she becomes an adult, everything can be turned a blind eye. She will marry the main character and then quickly file for divorce and take her share of the money, and she is also in a hurry. Then she will find herself a cute, handsome man and will live with him happily ever after, but she would just like to touch Ruslan's lips at least once. But at that very moment, the slime in her hand reacts to the words, after which it all jumps out. Irina asks if he's alive, but the slime just heads under the bed. The main character wonders what happened, after which she gets off the bed and tells him to come out because she won't hurt him. The girl asks if she squeezed him too hard, but when she looks at this creature, she wonders why he turned red. Irina asks if this is because of her words and because of what she said about the kiss, and if that is why he was so embarrassed. The girl also extends her hand and says that she will not talk about this anymore, so he should get out. After which the girl finally takes out this creature and says how strange it is, and also wonders if slimes are intelligent. She also asks if he understands her, after which the creature jumps in agreement. Irina wonders if this is true, but when she is about to say something else, another lady enters the room. And she also says that there's a couple, so let Irina go out. But at that very moment, the lady screams, "Where are all these demons coming from?" So what's the girl doing on the floor? The main character replies that she's doing nothing, after which she asks if she can go outside. Her interlocutor replies that the lady should hurry, and Irina understands that it looks like this girl doesn't know that she's locked there. So it's worth following her. As the lady heads down the hallway, she realizes she's certainly learned that Irina is being neglected. But everything turned out to be even worse. The girl also turns to the slime and says that it cannot come out. But at that very moment, one of the ladies says they've arrived. When she opens the door, the girl sees her mother. But she only says that Lady Irina is late. One of the maids asks what to do, since they've been waiting for the lady for so long that they've almost eaten everything. Another one claims that there is still some left, so the lady need not worry. The main character thinks that they didn't even warn her that they were having lunch now and that they really did call her later on purpose. If the lady were the real Irina, she'd be offended, but she's not personally affected by their words. When the girl picks up a spoon, then suddenly someone knocks it away. The woman claims she picked up the spoon at the wrong angle. And she trains the girl so much, but she doesn't train at all. And how can one consider oneself a member of the Sorority family with such manners? The woman also locks the plate and says that it looks like the lady is already full. Then she hands the food to Bella and tells her to eat it instead. But the main character claims that she didn't even have time to touch the food, and the woman replies that it seemed to her that the lady was already full. Mary accidentally put more food in than she needed, and she'll talk to her about it. The main character asks what she's talking about, then tries to tell her there's very little food in there. But the woman claims that lunchtime was already over, and it seemed the lady had completely forgotten about it. The main character realizes from this face alone that she hasn't even eaten a crumb. The woman claims she still has things to do and then leaves. Meanwhile, the main character remains with another lady and becomes angry. The red-haired girl apologizes and claims she didn't know the lady had already eaten. Otherwise, she wouldn't have called her. And Rose does this all for her own good, so she asks if the girl understands that the maids should take care of the health of the masters. Irina understands that she would say a few sweet words to this girl, but then Rosa will not remain silent, so she will have to endure it. But at that very moment, the slime in the lady's pocket starts to get angry and then jumps out. It lands on the face of the main character's interlocutor, and she screams out what it is. Irina, shocked, says that this can't be done, but at the same moment she sees that her interlocutor has disconnected. The slime sitting on her just smiles, then jumps off. Irina, shocked, wonders if it's really developed eyes. She also wonders if this creature really wants to be praised. And the main character, observing his actions, asks if he's really saying she can trust him. At that moment, the lady lying on the floor begins making sounds, and the main character wonders if she's already woken up. She also wonders what to do, as she might notice the slime. And yet, it would be better to knock her out again, but at that very moment, the lady rises from her seat and asks why she's on the floor. The main character whispers to the slime and tells him to hide behind her, and also wonders if the lady doesn't remember, because she reached for the tray and fell. The lady with red hair asks if this is true, and the main character hands her a tray and says that the lady really scared her and is wondering if anything hurts. The girl claims that this is all strange and she needs to tidy herself up, so let Irina return to the room. When the protagonist does this, she realizes it's the perfect crime. A short time later, she's in her room, saying it's a good thing the slime wasn't caught, but now she has a lot of questions. Irina asks if slimes can erase memory, and when she lies down, she says that probably not. After all, they are the lowest of the demons, and the girl wonders if he is special. The slime then makes sound. The main character says that it seems like he understands her and that she got some kind of overly smart slime. In any case, the girl thanks him for today, and when the slime turns around, Irina asks if he really knows how to dance. She never ceases to be amazed by his skills. She's encountered completely different slimes before, and she wonders if she can find information about him in a book. To be honest, they are keeping her locked up there, so she won't be able to go to the library, but she can try to sneak in there. When the girl lies back down, she says how hungry she is because she didn't even get a bite of food. Irina also thinks what kind of bastards these are and that starving her is too much. The girl curses and claims she doesn't even have the strength to be angry. She also turns to the slide and asks if it's hungry too. But when she looks up, she realizes there's no one left there. A little while later, the lady smells something. And he wonders if this is mushroom soup made from champignons, as well as pasta with shrimp and tomato sauce. Meanwhile, the slime brings in food on a tray and joyfully calls out to the servants. The main character sees all this food in front of her. She thinks slime is the best demon in the world. She also wishes bon appetit and begins to eat. Irina says that it is so delicious that she is about to cry. Islam is her benefactor. When the girl finishes eating, she says she's full. The lady hugs the slime and asks where he came from. So wonderful. The creature only makes joyful sounds from this, after which it jumps out of the main character's hands. And he heads out the window again. A little while later, he brings desserts, and the main character looks at them in shock. She understands that this can't be. She turns to her husband and insists that they will always be friends from now on. When she starts tasting the dessert, she says that she can't even believe that she is trying such a dessert. When the lady sees that the slime is heading towards the book, she wonders what he is up to again. But he just takes a pen and the girl wonders if he is really going to write something to her. When the slime finishes, the main character asks what he wrote there, and also whether she can see it. When the lady picks up the note, she realizes it says friend. The main character asks if he really wrote friend. And then he starts wondering if he can even write, because if so, then he's simply a genius. Irina looks at the word on the paper and realizes that everyone in this house hates her, but it seems that even she can be friends with someone. Irina, smiling, insists she's counting on him, but she does say the slime can't be there all the time. It's too dangerous. However, when she sees him hugging her finger, she wonders if he's even listening to her. If the Duke notices him, she can't even imagine what he might do. Well, after this, the slime shows something else, and the girl wonders if he is really reminding her that she can trust him. And if so, she'll believe as he says, but on one condition. First, he must prove she can trust him. The lady also suggests going to the library. A little while later, the lady heads towards the building and realizes that it is so quiet there. She also turns to the slime and offers him to hide, to which he agrees. When a lady enters the library, she thinks how big it is, but looking at the employee, she realizes that he seems to be bothered by her appearance there. When a lady sees a man getting up from his chair, she wonders if he is really going to borrow information about her arrival. But if the Duke asks why she came there, she plans to say that she was looking for information about Ruslan's family. When the girl looks at the list of higher demons, she realizes that she doesn't think there will be anything about slides. She also looks at the history of the war with the demons and understands that she most likely won't find information there either. When the main character looks at a book about the hero of the war with demons, Archduke Alexiev, she realizes that this book is about her future husband. The lady, flipping through the book lightly, whispers under her breath that he has power and money. When the slime turns to her, the girl whispers for it to climb back and pushes it a little with her hand. Lady continues her search for books about slides and comes across a dictionary of northern demons, from slimes to golems. She realizes this is it, and she's finally found the book. Well, when a girl looks at where she is, she thinks how she can reach the shelf. Most likely she will have to ask the librarian. But when the lady turns to him and sees that he is immersed in work, she understands that it is useless. The girl wonders what to do, and at that moment she hears the slime's voice. Irina asks if he can help, and the slime makes noises in response. But the main character asks what he's talking about. And how can such a little boy help her? At the same time, the girl wonders why he isn't answering and what this gloomy atmosphere is all about. And when she turns around, she sees a blonde man in front of her, who's wondering what the lady is doing there. The girl screams at the sight of him. The guy asks why she is so scared and whether he is so scary, to which the lady replies that this is not so. And she just wanted to know more about the slime that he gave her, so she was looking for a suitable book. The guy then claims that it seems like the lady really likes his gift, to which the main character replies that, yes, and he is very nice, but she wonders since when this guy has been so polite to her. At this point, the young man thinks about something and then even whispers that the slime did not smell of red liquid, unlike him. Irina asks what he is talking about, because she didn't hear the guy, but he only claims that he has wanted to ask for a long time. Does the lady like demons? She replies, no. Then the young man asks why she threw away the diamonds he gave her. But the main character asks what he's talking about, since she didn't see anything. The guy wonders if she didn't receive them and the maid didn't give them to her. The main character is surprised by this and wonders if they have now decided to steal her diamonds too. But that can't be true, and she can't pass up such a chance. Irina asks if the guy really gave them to the maid, to which he replies, yes. And the main character, with tears in her eyes, says that it looks like she took them for herself, but nothing was given to her. The guy only looks at this and asks how they dared to go against their master. He immediately turns around and claims that he will find them, but the main character tells her brother to wait. The young man then turns around and asks what she called him. Irina is a little scared by this and wonders if she was mistaken and now she is about to fall into eternal sleep. The lady tries to wriggle out of it, claiming she just wanted to stop him, but the guy doesn't listen and asks again what she just called him. The main character replies, brother. The guy then asks why she wanted to keep him from the girl, asks if he can get her that dictionary about the demons of the north, and he is simply taller than her. The young man agrees and claims that his brother will get it for her, and of course he is so high up, so it is understandable why she needed his help. The guy also claims that if it's hard, her brother can carry the book for her, but the main character thinks that he should stop. A little while later, the young man puts down several books and asks if that's all. Irina replies that she did and thanks him. She also claims she didn't say that last time, but she also wants to thank him for the slime. The guy asks if this is true and then claims that next time he will catch a bigger slime, but the main character replies that it is not worth it and will poison herself. The young man is a little embarrassed by this, but when he is about to say something else, at that very moment, the maid enters the room and addresses Lady Irina, and also claims that she is so lazy. At that moment, the maid sees the young gentleman and greets him, but the young man turns angrily towards her, and he wonders how the girl dared to enter her mistress's room without knocking, and also whether she has completely gone crazy. The young man asks the girl if she really thinks Irina isn't her mistress, and the maid replies that the master has misunderstood. Pari asks if this is true or if she's about to say he misheard. He also thinks that the other servants are behaving no better, so he can't let things go as they are and orders all the servants to be assembled immediately. The girl apologizes and insists it won't happen again, but the young man simply asks if she's ignoring his orders. The maid replies no and will do it right away, then runs off. Meanwhile, the guy turns to Irina. The main character is surprised and asks what's going on. The blonde replies that he'll deal with the servants and she can rest. After the guy leaves, the main character claims she didn't think Valentin valued his sister so much. He even decided to gather everyone's rumors, and the lady hopes he will take revenge on them for her. Irina also says that doing something nasty brings joy to the heart, and the slime agrees with the mistress and rubs against her hand. The main character asks if the slime is also happy, and states that she thinks it won't be very good to continue calling him that because it's the same as calling a person just a person. The lady ponders what name to give him and asks, "How about me?" But she realizes that's too obvious. When the lady lies down on the bed, she suggests the name Crumb because it is so soft, to which the slime only makes a sound. Irina asks if he really likes any of her ideas, and the slime waves its arms and beeps. Well, the main character claims that this won't work and suggests thinking about it later. But for now, you can read that book, because maybe it will help you choose a name. When the main character opens it, it says right there about the strongest slime in the world. Irina is surprised and claims that it is written about him on the very first page. The girl reads that this slime occupies the lowest rank among demons, but a higher demon can become one if it uses up all its power. Some slimes are said to eat other species and mimic them completely, but this has not yet been proven. However, the lady claims there's almost no information there. Meanwhile, the slime makes sounds, and the main character pets it, wondering what it is. The girl asks if he will share his secret if she tells him one of hers, and she can only tell this to him. However, when the lady is about to speak, she immediately hears someone coming and telling the slime to hide. At that very moment, the main character's brother enters the room holding the red-haired lady by the scruff of the neck, and the woman screams to be let go. At this point, the guy turns to Irina and asks what he should do with this thief. The woman tells the gentleman that she didn't do anything. But Valentin tells her to shut up because he is talking to his sister now. The woman says that he began to treat her this way precisely after her words and his actions now are equivalent to disobeying the will of the Duke. The guy then asks if she's bothering her father too, but the woman insists that when he finds out about everything, he'll do it. At that moment, the young man pulls her towards him and claims that the woman does not seem to understand. After all, while the father is not around, he is the main one there and will make his decision after his sister's answer. And the guy also turns to Irina and offers to tell her whether this woman did something to her. The main character understands that she even made her daughter a princess, but she doesn't consider her a human being. This lady thought that she would get away with everything because little Irina did not have the strength to resist her. But that's all in the past, because she's no longer the Irina Rosa knew. The protagonist asks him if the lady still claims her innocence. After treating her so unfairly, the girl insists she was telling the truth, as she was never given any stones. And she herself took all the gifts from her brother, and now she also wants to make her out to be a liar. The girl, with tears in her eyes, claims that this is too much and understands that the best defense is an attack, so the main thing is to shed a tear in time. At this point, the woman thinks that this lady was usually afraid to contradict him and doesn't understand what's wrong with her. She also understands that things are bad and that if she can't justify herself, she'll be in trouble. The maid screams that it's a lie and that the lady is trying to slander her. Therefore, the master cannot judge based solely on her words. But at that very moment, the young man slaps her. The red-haired lady screams at him, asking what he's doing. But the guy wonders if she's even doing it. asking if he's doing the same thing the woman did to his sister. He'll use her as an example to show the others how to behave, so let the woman be prepared for the worst. The red-haired lady screams that he'll regret this. But the guy at that very moment grabs her hand and claims that he thinks she will be the only one who will feel sorry for her. Valentin also says goodbye to Irina, but then he stops and says he remembered something else. The young man asks the lady if she wants anything. The main character, with a smile on her face, asks him what he's talking about. After all, she would be happy with any gift from her brother. The young man smiles and says that it's good. He'll also find something she's sure to like, after which he'll leave. The main character smiles afterward. She takes the slime out from under the bed and asks if it smells that sweet scent of victory. Previously, she was afraid of him because this guy constantly brought her pieces of demons, but now her brother really helped her out. Well, if you think about it, then why did she think badly of him at all? Because Valentin seems to value her very much. After this, the slime makes some kind of gesture, and the main character asks what it means, and also whether he really understands everything she says. The slime makes a sound in response, and the main character's interest only means that now he is ready to listen to her secret. After which the lady claims that, in fact, she came from another world and does not know exactly how she ended up there. Well, even though she looks like Irina, it's not her. Lady simply read a novel with a similar plot, but she never imagined it would turn out like this. The slime then rubs against the lady's hand, and the main character wonders if he's trying to comfort her. The girl says that he is really good, after which the baby smiles and the main character says how cute he is. And she's so happy to have him. People also say that if she ever gets rich, she'll definitely take care of him too. She also says it's great to dream about such things and asks if it's true. When the slime takes the lady's finger, she asks if it really wants her to continue her story. When he agrees to how she got into the book, the girl replies that she doesn't even know because she doesn't want to tell such a little boy. At this time, Slime shows that he is already an adult, and the main character asks if he is really talking about himself now. After which he says, "Okay, so be it, but he shouldn't be scared. In fact, this world is a novel for adults. And it's filled with all sorts of obscenities." The slime points at the lady and makes a noise, and the main character wonders if he's asking if she's done that. When the lady hears another sound, she replies that no, she was quiet and was afraid to even get involved in political debates. And even after she plunges into eternal sleep, the main characters of the novel will meet, and from that moment, the part with the kidnapping will begin. Ruslan decides to keep Kay with him, and true love is known through suffering. At this time, Slime asks if the lady really wants to be kidnapped, and the main character replies that of course she does. And he asks if everyone doesn't like it. After all, then you don't have to work because you're taken care of, and you can live in a luxurious room, not the one you had before, but the one you have now. She would have liked such confinement, but it cannot be done without the partner's consent. It's important to distinguish between fantasy and reality. Well, then the main character says it's somehow awkward to tell him such a thing. When the slime hits the lady's hand, the main character just smiles and says that it's okay, he's already old enough. After which the main character asks if he would like to kiss the girl just like the main character, which makes the slime embarrassed. The main character smiles and says that he blushed so much, but he says that adults put it on, but he was still a baby. After which his girlfriend falls onto the bed, sighs, and claims that if she were the main character, she and Ruslan would be together. Slime asks her if she likes him, and the main character replies that he's strong and handsome. Her interlocutor asks if he's really that strong, and the main character replies that she thinks he can defeat any demon, after which the kid claims that he is also strong. The main character then looks at him with a little surprise and then starts laughing. Slime is wondering what happened, and the main character is almost choking with laughter and tells him to wait. After which, the slime becomes completely embarrassed and almost cries. The main character turns to him and apologizes, claiming she's not laughing at him. He's so cool after all, but the slime doesn't really believe her words. The main character assures him that she's being honest, and he's even better than Ruslan, but she'll still marry him. Slime then turns to the lady and asks what it means to come out. The main character wonders if he doesn't know, because this is when two people become very close. But when the lady sees the slime's reaction, she wonders what's wrong with it. After that, it starts running away. And then he jumps out the window. The main character looks out and asks him to wait. At that moment, one of the knights wondered what that noise was, and it seemed like someone was shouting. But another one replies that he might be hallucinating due to lack of sleep, after which another one replies that someone was definitely screaming at the tower. His interlocutor claims he imagined it, as everything was quiet and peaceful there. Meanwhile, the main character looks out the window and realizes she's almost caught, but she can't figure out where the slime went. After which she sees that he is behind the fence and thinks what to do if the guards suddenly notice him. After all, she doesn't even want to imagine this and can't look at all this. But at the same moment, the lady smells some pleasant smell and wonders what it is. When she opens her eyes, she realizes that these are the flowers that the slime brought her. Irina asks why he brought her flowers, and the creature puts his hand on hers and proposes marriage. The main character asks if he is proposing to her, to which he makes a sound. The girl replies that this is of course sweet, but she will marry Archduke Ruslan Alexiev. No demon can resist the Archduke's devourment, and his charisma is simply incredible. Irina claims that she will marry the slime if he defeats Ruslan, and wonders what he will say in response to this. Slime then claims that he will win, and the main character tries not to laugh. She says that he is good and now she will have to marry him, and the lady asks when their wedding will be. Although for now, it's worth starting with something else, and the girl claims that they've already held hands with him, which means it's time to kiss. This makes her feel embarrassed, and she seems to ask what she is talking about, after which she points to herself. The main character smiles and wonders if he will do it himself, because if so, then okay, she will close her eyes. But when a girl does this, she thinks why nothing happens, and whether he really went out into the street again like that time. Irina is about to scream for him to wait, but at that very moment, she feels the slime kissing her, after which she screams outright. The girl apologizes and claims that she accidentally did it first, and the slime jumps to the floor and runs away in tears. The main character wonders if he was so embarrassed that he decided to run away and who asked her to marry him now. After which, the lady comes closer to the bed and tells him to get out. She also says how funny he is and asks why he asked her to marry him if he's so shy. She suggests they come back to this when he's older so he won't be shy anymore. Meanwhile, in the dungeon of the Sortie estate, the lady with red hair says that it is cold there. She gets up and turns to Valentine Sortie, asking how he dared leave her there and does he really think he can get away with it. The Duke will return soon, and she just needs to be patient for a little while, because then she will take revenge on everyone who dared to cross her path. And if this girl had disappeared, then her wonderful daughter Bella would have become the heir to the family. But the woman says that it's nothing to worry about, after which she screams that she will definitely get rid of Irina. A little while later, the main character walks through the garden and says how wonderful it is there, since she hasn't been outside for so long. She is, of course, glad to finally go for a walk, but if it weren't for Valentine's invitation, no one would even let her in. The lady asks if the slime thinks this is too cruel, to which he agrees. At this time, the main character sees her brother and tells him not to let the slime catch his eye. The lady immediately approaches her brother and asks how long he's been waiting. He replies that he hasn't and that everything is fine, and the girl asks if he really wanted anything. Valentine claims that it is important so they should sit down and he has a lot to tell her. Irina wonders what he was going to talk about with such a serious look, after which the guy tells her to wait. The young man spreads out a blanket and then says that now everything is ready and she can sit down. Irina thanks him and then does so, and the guy claims that she has lost a lot of weight. So he prepared all this for her. The main character, looking at the luxurious basket of food, smiles and says that her brother cares for her so much. The guy offers her something to eat because soon they won't be able to spend time so carefree because her father is returning. And it looks like he finally found it. The main character asks what he's talking about. The guy replies that he's talking about the poison from the roots of the Kalinda plant. Taking it doesn't immediately plunge a person into eternal sleep. At first, he suffers for a long time and coughs up red liquid as he gets closer and closer to the end. The main character thinks about this and realizes that it seems Irina was poisoned by the names. The guy also claims that he thinks that sooner or later one of them will be given this poison. And if they don't comply, their lives will end even sooner. Irina realizes that the plot is beginning to unfold, and she will be taking this poison every day. It is said that with frequent use, flowers will grow on your wrists, and if you continue drinking it until they bloom, then the whole body will begin to exude this poison, and eventually the person will become a walking Kalinda. The girl understands that the Duke's secret plan is clear to her, and that as soon as Irina's body becomes poisonous, he will marry her off to Ruslan, because in this way the Archduke will slowly sink into eternal sleep. For the sake of the perfect crime, he is ready to turn his daughter into a vessel for poison, and no matter how you look at it, things are bad. The girl calls her father names and wonders if he really decided that she is an easy target. Well, she knows where the antidote is, so nothing will work for her. This antidote can be found in the forest around the Archduke's estate, but the Duke is unaware of this. Now the girl claims that talk of poisons doesn't frighten her. The guy asks if she's right, but her look suggests otherwise. It's as if she's just waiting for the opportunity to drink the poison. Irina, shocked, wonders how he figured it out, and she needs to stay calm. The girl is also interested in what her brother is talking about, and she is simply very worried. Maria wonders if it means he imagined it, and it seems she really has no reason to want to be plunged into eternal sleep. But he will drink the poison anyway. The main character cries out that she must do it. However, the guy grabs her by the shoulders and asks if she hasn't realized it yet, as it plunges her into eternal sleep. Irina understands that he doesn't know yet, but she won't succumb to the poison's influence. She also has her own reasons for drinking it, so the poison will be hers. The girl claims that her brother is important to the family, unlike her useless self. Well, the young man wonders if she really thinks she should suffer for everyone, so he'll drink this poison. Irina mentally curses him and realizes that he shouldn't. The girl claims that he shouldn't get involved in this because if she sacrifices herself, the problem will be solved. But the guy asks why she's so stubborn, since he said he'd drink it himself. People understand that, even if it's stubbornness for him. Well, who knows what abilities she might gain if she completely neutralizes the poison. If you take it regularly, a flower with 5 petals will grow on your wrist. But if you then take the antidote, you can achieve perfect health, and all 5 senses will be sharpened to the limit. She can even learn to cleanse demonic creatures. Therefore, the lady can't pass up the chance to become a more significant character. Valentin tells the girl to stop talking nonsense, because he's already made up his mind. But Irina asks if he really wants to take all the pain for himself. Valentin asks if the girl really thinks he'll give her the poison. But at that very moment, someone turns to the young master and claims that he has news. So, he asks if he is busy now, to which the guy replies that no, and they can go quickly. The young man also tells the girl to get up because he will take her to the room. The main character thanks him and wonders if her brother has always been like this. A little while later, the lady sits down on the bed and sighs. She says she and her brother have quite a relationship, arguing over who will take the poison first. And the longer you live, the more problems arise. Then the girl asks if that's true. The girl turns to the slime, but when she takes Togo out of her pocket, she sees that he has turned green and screams out what happened. She also says that it has some strange shape and wonders if something hurts. But the slime shakes its head in disagreement and then talks about going into eternal sleep. The main character wonders if this is how he reacts to her decision to take poison, and the slime nods. The lady wants to calm him down and asks him not to worry because everything will be fine, but he just starts crying. Irina understands that he is so worried that she turns to her husband and kisses him on the forehead. The girl claims that she can handle it, so she asks him not to worry and promises not to fall into eternal sleep just like that, so he shouldn't be sad. But at that very moment, the main character hears someone coming into her room and realizes that first she needs to hide the slime. The lady puts it under the bed. At that moment, someone burst into the room, to Irina. It turns out to be a girl with red hair who screams what the lady did to her mother. The main character understands what it means that she learned that Rose is being held in prison. Irina wonders what the lady is talking about because she doesn't remember doing anything. But her interlocutor sternly tells the girl not to mock because, hey, everyone has already told her everything. The girl asks if the lady really said that they hid her things and that she simply doesn't like them. After which she completely screams at how they could have imprisoned her innocent mother. Irina wonders if this girl is really talking about Rosa. And the lady with red hair claims that she slandered her mother, but she will still find her weak spot. The main character says yes and wishes her luck, but also understands that she doesn't really want to fight with a teenager. Her interlocutor gets angry about this and then says that she still has things to do, so they will finish later and next time she will not let the girl go so easily. The main character asks what this is all about, and the girl replies that the Duke has already returned. And if she suddenly wants to justify herself to him, she should hurry. Irina wonders if the Duke is already there. She also claims that she will come down soon, but wonders if Bella has forgotten anything. After all, she will have to accompany her since the girl is responsible for her. Or maybe she's already forgotten her place. The red-haired lady is embarrassed by this, after which he screams at the girl to stop talking nonsense and come out. When the main character is about to go further, she turns to the slide and thinks whether it is possible to leave it there alone. But he needs to hide well until she returns. A little while later, the main character is sitting at the table with her father. She understands that this is the first time she meets the Duke of Sorty. Well, he looks better. What was she thinking? The man turns to Valentin and tells him to prepare for his imminent departure. After all, tomorrow he's heading off to the Crow's Forest. The boy wonders if it's really that soon. And the main character understands that he just returned from the battlefield, and his father is sending him there again. The Crow Forest is a god-forsaken place, and it is understandable why he wants to send Valentin there. He needs demonic artifacts and the diverting necessary for transformation into a demon. These can only be found on other demons. Irina wonders where the Emperor is looking. The blonde man says it's clear, and then he gets ready. But the main character wonders why her brother is listening to him, or if he's already under hypnosis. Well, they haven't reached that plot point yet. At this time, the man says that this is true and the guy should obey him if he wants to protect what is so dear to him. After which, the man turns to Irina and hands her some kind of bottle. He also claims that she'll finally be useful. The main character wonders if this is Kalinda's poison. The girl also understands that she should not show her joy, but she thinks how to keep her cool now. Irina tries to look innocent and asks what it is, but her brother immediately slams his hand on the table, and he tells his father to give it to him instead. The man asks how the boy dared raise his voice at him, and it seems he raised him poorly, since the young man even dared to intervene in the conversation. After which, the man says that if he says even a word, his treasure will be destroyed. The young man apologizes, and his father insists that he will forgive him for his rudeness only this once. After which, he opens the bottle and hands it to Irina and tells her to sing this. This will turn her into a beautiful flower. The protagonist takes the glass in her hands and understands that it will hurt, but that's okay. It's better to drink it all down in one gulp, because that's the only way she can get revenge on him. Meanwhile, the man watches the lady, and he says that she's been waiting for this for a long time, but the girl replies that it was his order. He also asks if she can argue, after which the man sighs and says that this is true. Irina realizes she needs to drink before she changes her mind. When she finishes drinking, she realizes the poison tastes pretty good. The lady also wonders what will happen now because it seems to be already in her stomach. Her father watches her with a smile, and her brother only clenches his fists. The lady with red hair at this time turns to her daughter and tells her to look carefully. After all, there's still a little time left, and soon Bella will take that girl's place. A little while later, the protagonist returns to her room, but realizes she can't see anything. At that moment, someone addresses Lady Sortie, and the girl wonders if it is Rose. At this time, the woman asks if she feels well, to which the main character replies that she does. But at that very moment, he starts coughing up red liquid and tells the woman to let him pass. Rose opens the door to her room and then leaves the lady and tells her to get some rest. The young gentleman who is her only protector will soon be leaving, and she hopes that the lady is ready for the next trials. After which she leaves, and the main character tells this woman not to worry because she will survive. After which, the girl decides to lie down on the bed, but when she does, she realizes that things are bad. She didn't expect it to hurt so much, and experiencing the torment alone is worse than she could have imagined. At that very moment, the lady hears someone talking to her and understands what he sent them. The main character turns to him with a smile on her face and asks if he hid well, but the slime only asks if she is in a lot of pain. Irina tells him not to worry because she's fine, but she's wondering if it's true. She also insists she's not feeling well and would rather sleep. The lady also apologizes and says that if something happens, he should definitely hide. After which the slime screams and begins to grow. A short while later, the girl opens her eyes. She puts her hand on the bed, but wonders why it is so soft, and when she fully wakes up, she realizes that she is on slime. And he wonders what the hell this is. The slime separates from the rest of the mass and claims that the patient needs safety. The girl asks if he warmed her up to make her feel better, to which he replies that yes. And the main character thinks, what kind of cute kitten is this, and it's so soft and warm with him? Irina asks if he can even heal. If so, then he really is the best. Slime asks what that means, and the girl replies that he's cool, after which, with a smile on her face, she tells him that it's true. After all, she has him and the lady thanks the slimes because now she is not so lonely. A little while later, the girl is already stretching and says that she feels better. Irina understands that while the pain still remains, the most important thing is that she took Kalinda's poison. The protagonist also thanks the slime for everything, because without it, she would have suffered alone for a long time. The girl also wonders what would have happened to her if it weren't for the slime, but the lady also wonders if the Duke might see it before she gains her power. The Duke took away or destroyed everything that Irina loved so much, and this case will be no exception. After which, the main character turns to the slime and tells him to listen to her carefully. If something happens, let him run north, and the lady asks if he understood her. But the slime replies that he won't go because he has to protect Irina. The main character sighs after that, and she hugs the slime and also says that he is her protector and she relies on him. After which, the girl lies down on the bed and the slime covers her with a blanket. Irina thanks him, and she insists that she'll wrap herself tightly in a blanket and he should listen to her and, in case of danger, run north. Slime wonders if she won't go. The girl replies that she can't, but if he escapes, she promises to find him. Slime asks if she'll fall into eternal sleep and if she's better off, and the girl replies that he shouldn't worry, because the pain won't hurt her, because she's destined to fall into eternal sleep at the hands of her brother. Slime then claims that he will defeat him, and the main character asks if this is true. Well, he claims she's afraid it won't be easy. Slime then places his hand on hers and tells her to appreciate life. Irina understands that the slime is so gentle and kind, after which everyone agrees and also claims that she understood. The lady proposes a long and happy life together, then embraces him. Meanwhile, the lady's father inquires about any news of the Archduke. The servant replies that yes, in the Grand Duchy it has been very quiet lately, and although he tracked his location, it did not help. After all, the Archduke suddenly disappeared. The lady's father claims that only a short time has passed since he inherited the Grand Duchy. That's why he doesn't understand how he has the conscience to just sit in the castles. He also claims that something happened, and it doesn't matter if it's a body or a spirit, but if he has nothing to hide, then this guy wouldn't hide in the castle. The man then asks the servant if he's sure he's there. The man replies that they just sent their maid there recently. She saw the Archduke there. The man claims it could be a trap, so he'll learn more about it through the story. After which he turns to his son and states that it is now his turn. Let him say how long it will take to receive the goods, to which he replies that it will take about 2 weeks. But the man claims that he is giving him a week and this antidote, and it will be up to him how he uses it. She'll have to get something useful, otherwise she'll repeat the fate of the guy's mother. The young man recalls his mother coughing up red fluid, and he asked where it hurt. The woman replied that she was fine. But at that very moment, she coughed again. The guy claims he'll remember it for the rest of his life. After which, he even claims that it's time for him to go and leaves, slamming the door. The Duke says how stupid this puppy is because he really does look like his mother. His air is too weak. And that freak also disappeared. After which, the man turns to one of the servants and says, so that he could better tell how Irina and Valentine were doing in his absence, and also start the journey with that idiot who just left. The servant informs the master that the young master may soon become a sword master. However, he is concerned about his lack of academic knowledge due to his frequent absences and also hopes that he supports the young master. The man replies that he understands, and that stupid hunting dogs are easier to tame. He also asks to be informed further, and one of the servants agrees and also asks to be allowed to report on Lady Irina's education. The man understands that it says that she visited the library and asks for what purpose. The teacher replies that they recently had a lesson on monsters and that might be why she was interested in them. The man asks if this means that she just wanted to know more about this topic, to which the teacher replies that yes, but the Duke understands that this is strange because the lady was always afraid of everything and did not remember anything. And then suddenly she went to the library, so he will believe more that she succumbed to someone's influence than in this. And there everything is definitely not so simple. The Duke turns to the teacher and tells him to watch the girl more closely in the future. He also turns to Rose and tells her to lock the door to Irina's room at night. The woman smiles in response and asserts that she will do her best to carry out his orders. A little while later, the main character wonders where Jana is and whether she's really underwater. After which, the ladies finally see the main character. The girl treats the Archduke's wound and claims it will sting a little. The man watches her silently, and when the lady tells him to rest, it's time for her to go. The guy immediately lays her down on the bed and asks her not to leave. The lady asks what His Highness is doing and offers to let her go. But the guy replies that he doesn't want to, because if he lets her go, the lady will run away again. A little while later, Irina opens her eyes and sighs heavily. She realizes it's all over at the most interesting moment. But at that very moment, the lady notices something dripping onto her hands and wonders what it is. Then she raises her head and wonders if this is really a nightmare. Meanwhile, the monsters begin to strangle the lady. Irina realizes that Duke Sordi has definitely orchestrated this to teach her a lesson. When she tries to remove the monster's hands, she realizes that her own are on fire, and she can't even push him away. Well, the lady understands that she needs to calm down, because she can endure this, because this is a dream and she just needs to wait until she wakes up. The girl also wonders why he's doing this to her, and she's in pain and distress. Even though it's a dream, she's still scared. So she asks anyone to help her. At that moment, the lady notices a bright light, and when he turns around, he realizes it's slime. The kid jumps on the monster and tries to cut it, but he only pushes him away, and the main character turns to the lime with concern. The girl tells him to run away because everything will be fine with her, but when the slime doesn't move, the lady asks him to come to his senses. At the same moment, the monster presses the girl even harder, and the slime rises and takes the blade in his hands again. After which he jumps on the monster, who simply pushes him away again. The slime flies away, but decides not to give up. He crawls higher and higher on the monster, after which everything hits him in the neck, and the monster begins to dissolve. The main character watches this in shock, after which the slime falls into her hands. Irina asks if he's okay, to which he makes a noise, and the protagonist asks if he's in pain or injured anywhere. The slime insists that even if he's hurt or injured, he will protect Irina. A little while later, the main character opens her eyes and realizes that it is so bright there. But when the main character gets up, she remembers something and wonders where the slime is. The baby then makes a sound, and when the girl turns to him, she sighs. And she says how good it is that he is there because she just had a very strange dream. At that moment, the girl sees a wound on his face and realizes that it was not a dream. The girl also says what a fool he is and asks why he didn't run away, because it was very dangerous. And now, because of her, a wound has appeared on such a small body. Slide, meanwhile, takes the lady's finger and apologizes for being so small. He also apologizes for not telling her he's so weak. The main character remains silent after that. And the slime claims that he will become stronger, and the main character wonders if he really thought about it all this time. That she likes strong men like Archduke Ruslan. The girl wonders if he's really that stupid. And how can he become even stronger? After all, he is already very strong now, so he shouldn't apologize. And in the dream, he was very cool, so the girl thanks him for his help and also claims that such guys are definitely her type. After which the slime becomes embarrassed, and the main character, looking at his facial expression, asks if he is okay. The girl also screams, asking if he is really feeling bad, and asks him to come to his senses. Last night, the candle in the Duke's study went out, and the man claimed the nightmare disappeared faster than he thought. He still had time, but he simply plunged into eternal sleep, and this is too much even for a low-level nightmare. The Duke claimed that it was suspicious, and the servant supported him, because even though he was of a lower level, a nightmare is a nightmare. The man claims that this is what he is talking about because the weak girl could not get rid of him on her own. Someone definitely helped her, and the man asks who could have pulled off such an audacity in his estate, after which he turns to the butler and tells him to find out who this idiot is. He also kept track of who was visiting Irina and then immediately dealt with him. When the butler leaves, the man understands that this is what he is talking about, because this weak girl could not get rid of him on her own. Someone definitely helped her, or holy powers began to manifest just like with her mother. In order to make a child with divine powers, he even made a priestess his wife. But in the end, it all fell apart. The woman gave birth to a dummy, and still expected him to consider it his son. A little while later, the lady turned to the Duke and claimed that Valentine was still young, so how could she send a child to exterminate monsters? But the man claimed that if he had divine powers, he could already fight on the battlefield, and if she only transferred them to him properly, then everything would be fine. He also told his wife that she was screaming like some kind of animal, although it was all her fault. But after that, the girl screamed that he was the only beast there, after which she got hit in the face. The Duke asked if she really didn't understand anything, and that even her parents' immersion in eternal sleep hadn't brought her to her senses. If she wants to protect her loved ones, then let her think about her behavior. After all, no one can stop his plan. Now the main character tries embroidering, or realizes it's more boring than she thought. The lady yawns, but the girl with red hair wonders what kind of lady she is. Bella says that when a lady yawns, she should cover her mouth. The main character then says she forgot to ask what the girl was doing there. Her interlocutor replies that the Duke said to follow Irina, and the main character replies that since she didn't find anything, maybe she should go to her room, but the lady with red hair replies that it's impossible, and she still has something to teach the girl because she's a lady, and she should study more. The main character asks what she is like and whether she is really that much better than her. But when the girl looks at her interlocutor's scarf, she is shocked and asks why she is so beautiful. Bella replies that the rose taught her this, and the main character, continuing to embroider, thinks which of them is the Duke's daughter. At this time, the girl once again turns to Irina and asks who she spoke to last night, because she heard some sounds. The slime under the bed is only frightened by this, and the main character asks what her interlocutor is talking about. And why is he suddenly talking about this? Well, Letty asks, then why is the girl's voice shaking? And if she's up to something, she'd better stop, because she's already figured it all out. Irina doesn't think she's imagining things. The red-haired lady tells the girl to be honest, since she's already been caught, so the main character asks what she's talking about, since she has nothing to hide. Bella screams that when the young master leaves the estate, it will be too late, so let her tell everything now. Irina asks if she is threatening her, but at that moment, someone enters the room and the lady with red hair begins to stutter. Irina asks why she suddenly started stuttering, and when she turns to the door, she thinks that there is someone there. It turns out it's the lady's brother, and the guy is wondering why the girl went silent because let him continue and say what will happen when he leaves. Bella immediately bows and replies that nothing, and that she would rather go. After which, the girl runs off. The blonde guy tells her to wait. Bella asks what's wrong, and the guy tells her to make them some tea. A little while later, the main character is already taking tea and says that it has finally become calm there. She also thanks her brother, but asks why he came. The boy replies that it was to say goodbye. After all, he's leaving tonight for the Crow Forest. The main character then turns to her brother and asks him to be careful, because she'll be waiting for him. After which the guy smiles and agrees, and also says that he will return safe and sound. Irina understands that she is interested in whether he has become attached to her during this time, but for some reason she even feels sorry for Valentine, so the lady wants him to return safe and sound. Well, then the main character thinks why he is still sitting here, and does he really have something to tell her? At this time, the guy points to the scarf that the girl was embroidering and asks what it is. The main character picks it up and asks how she got it for her brother, since she gave it to him as a gift. The young man asks who it was for, and the main character replies, "Of course it's their slime." The kid immediately crawls out from under the bed and asks if it's really for him, and the main character says that the slime is just in time and asks if it will fit there. The girl also tells him not to move, after which she tries on a scarf for him and says that white suits him. At this time, the lady's brother asks if she will give this scarf to him, and the main character replies that yes, and this is to show that it is hers. After which the guy says okay, he understands, and then he'll go. But when the young man heads for the door, he just hits his head against it, and the main character wonders if his condition has really worsened so much. And is this really what she thinks, because she heard that in this world, knights go to war? People give scarves for good luck, and maybe he wanted one from her too. The girl also realizes she has something for him too. Then she tells her brother to wait a second, and when she rummages through the nightstands, she realizes that somewhere there was definitely a scarf with the Swordy emblem. After which she finds it, but realizes that a little dust has accumulated on it. The lady shakes it and then turns to her brother and tells him to take it with him. The guy asks if this is really for him, and the main character says that she hopes he will return with him safe and sound. The young man only remains silent and embarrassed in response, and the main character asks him if he likes it, to which he replies that he will go. After which, she presses the handkerchief to herself and then puts it in her pocket. Ludmila also tells her brother that she wanted to ask him something. Then he approaches him and whispers something about the slime. The main character asks where he got it, and the guy replies, "On the Celtic River." And the girl wonders if it could be somewhere around the Bart Plain. She's heard it's dangerous there because demonic gates often appear. And the lady wonders if this means he brought it from there. The guy then asks if she really wants to ask the donkey, to which the lady replies that yes, she's interested, and he's definitely not like the others. After which the guy says, okay, he'll find out. Irina asks how he plans to do that. He replies that he'll just stab the slime once, since there's still plenty of time before departure. Irina, shocked, asks what he'll do and hides the slime. After which her brother says, okay, he'll just watch. The girl wonders if she can trust him. But she understands that she still has classes today, so she can't take the slimes with her, and it's unknown what they'll do to him if they catch him. That's why she wanted to leave him alone in the tower, but if the maid found him, she would definitely put him into eternal sleep. And in such a situation, the girl thinks whether it is better for me to leave the lime to my brother. The girl says that if he tortures him, he will have huge problems, but the guy asks what she means. After which the lady thinks and claims that then she will hate him with all her heart. The guy is shocked by this, and the main character says that if he understood, then he should extend his hand. The young man does just that, and when he takes it from the lime, the main character says that the two of them should not quarrel. She's not here yet. The guy asks what that means, and the girl replies that she has a class about monsters and is late, but will be there soon. After which the girl leaves the two alone. Valentine realizes that he doesn't like this slime though. But since Irina is interested in him, there is nothing to be done, and today he needs to watch him. Returning to where he met him, it was the Barth Plain, where his father sent him, and where the Celtic River flows. That's where he found this guy. At that time, he was no different from a normal slime, but now he has eyes and a mouth, which is very strange. After which the guy leaves him and tells the slime not to even think about running away. He promised his sister to follow him until she returned, and during that hour he would try to find out everything about him. Well, then the blonde wonders if the slime is ignoring him, and it seemed to him that he understood everything that Irina said earlier. But can a lower demon have intelligence? This is all too strange. There's also the fact that he survived in the Celtic River area, which is teeming with high-level monsters. And maybe he is a telepath, because the guy doesn't see any other explanation. Although slimes can't use magic, the guy then realizes that it doesn't matter whether he's a telepathic lion or whether he develops eyes, a nose, or a mouth. But still, Next to him, Irina always smiles, and before this, she looked more like a lifeless doll. But now his sister has changed, and it seems Lime has become a good friend to her. Now he doesn't see anything unusual or suspicious. So he decides to watch him a little longer, and in the meantime, he'll sit down somewhere. When the guy looks around the room, he realizes that the problem doesn't seem to be the slime. He wonders what the maids were so busy with that they left the room so neglected. The guy also understands that he will have to teach them a lesson, but when he is going to clean up a bit, he suddenly sees some kind of note. When he looks at it, he realizes that it doesn't look like Irina's handwriting. And if she didn't write it, then who did? Because it's a marriage proposal written there. At this point, the slime makes a sound and raises its hand, and the guy wonders if he really wrote that. After which he smiles, but at the same moment, the lady's brother screams out what he is. And how could a monster write this? But that's not even the most important thing, because what kind of marriage are we talking about? The slime makes a sound again after this, but the guy squeezes the paper and says that this will never happen. After which the kid starts getting angry, and the lady's brother calls him names. The slime then looks around to see what he can do, and when it sees many guys, it jumps on them. But Valentine immediately grabs him and asks if he was really about to throw dirt from his boot into his eyes. The guy also wonders if he's gone crazy and tells the slime to listen to him carefully. After all, she and Irina can't possibly marry, and she already has a groom. Whether the lady wants this or not, she'll have to marry Archduke Ruslan. After which the guy wonders if the slime is going to put him into eternal sleep. And when he doesn't know what to answer, the guy just sighs and asks if everything is that simple. And there is simply no one who could be a good match for his sister, but a lady cannot help but get married. The guy also understands that when he inherits the title, singles will need more support. But at that very moment the slime turns to him, and the young man wonders if he can even write. Slime is writing the words person X at this time, and the lady's brother wonders if he really means that it should be him. And also, hasn't he realized that if he wants to be an ideal husband, he has to look impressive? And not like a snotty brat, because what kind of husband would he be? Valentin realizes he'll give up at this rate, but at that very moment the slime addresses him again. And he turns into something square, and the lady's brother thinks what the hell he's doing and whether he's really trying not to look soft. He also wonders if he is serious, and says that no matter how hard he tries, nothing will come of it. To marry Irina, he must be smart and wield a sword better than her. He also had to be cold to others, but warm to his sister. And he also had to be able to dance and have good etiquette. But the most important thing is to save his sister from his father, and to do this he must be incredibly strong. After which, the slime makes a confident face and makes a sound. At this point, the main character enters the room and asks if they were arguing. Well, when she sees her brother Islam in his hands, she is shocked and asks why the slime became square. And what's going on there anyway? The blonde claims he was overconfident, and this demon's ambition is just brimming. Irina asks what he's talking about and wonders if they've learned anything about his true nature. The girl also asks if it didn't work out, and her brother replies that there was too little time, so he'll ask the knights after they leave. Irina asks if he's already leaving, and if they're not leaving at night, to which the boy replies that he still needs to prepare. He also asks the lady to look after the slime while he's gone. The girl agrees and tells him not to worry. But her brother insists this is nothing to joke about. After the young man turns around, he sighs and says he's leaving and will be back soon. At this time, Irina turns to the slime and tells it to now take its original form, but it only smiles smugly. The girl then asks what to do, since she was going to give it to the soft slime, after which he immediately takes his form, and the girl tries on the scarf and also tells him to stand still. When the lady ties this scarf like a cloak, the slime says that he likes it. Irina says that she is glad that he liked her and wanted to tell him something. But at that very moment, she sees the slime start eating the dessert and screams that he can't. The girl immediately removes him from human food and says that he can't do that. The lady also screams at him to wait, as she'll help him spit it out. But when she looks at the slime in her hands, she wonders if he's okay. And maybe there was a mistake in the monster dictionary and it looks like she'll have to go to the library again. But at that same moment, the lady looks at the slime in her hands and apologizes for shaking it too hard. The girl also asks if she should pat him on the back, but at that moment, the lady with red hair overhears her. A little while later, the girl once again heads to the library, and when she takes one of the books, she reads that slimes do not have intelligence and do not know how to write, therefore they cannot use magic. They do not tolerate water and are sensitive to acid, so they live mainly in the mountains and on plains, not appearing on the shores of seas and rivers. The main character wonders if they can't use magic, but that's odd, because the slime definitely destroyed the nightmare with magic. The girl also turns to him and wonders if he really is a slime. And maybe it belongs to some similar species, But then the girl realizes that this book is also useless and she needs to look for another one. But at that very moment, someone turns to Lady Sortie and the main character wonders where this woman came from. Rose claims that she can only read once a week, but the main character replies that she came for the first time this week. The woman asks if this is true, after which she asks for forgiveness, and the main character says that then she will go. But when the lady moves on, the woman follows her, and the girl thinks why she is following her. And it looks like we'll have to end it here. Meanwhile, Rose turns to Lady Irina and says breakfast will be served soon. They've prepared some ham for her, so she should go and eat. Irina asks since when has the maid been so attentive to her. But the woman asks what she is saying, and the main character thinks that usually she is angry, so she does not understand why now she is so nervous. And now that Valentine has left, she has no one to turn to for help in this mansion. Well, when the lady's hand falls on the pocket, the girl understands that now she is not alone, because she has slime. The main character also turns to Rose and says that this is good, so let her lead her to the dining room. A little while later, the girl finishes her meal and says that this is the best food she has had in a long time and that she wishes they would serve her dessert too. The slime immediately jumps to the floor and heads off somewhere. The main character screams that it doesn't need to go. But when the slime is almost out of sight, the girl asks why it's so nimble and tells it to come back. Meanwhile, the maid asks the lady if something has happened. Irina replies that it's nothing special and understands that she needs to go get the slime. Lady also mentally asks him not to get caught. At that moment, the slime hears someone's voice asking what Bella is doing. Slime hides behind a box and another maid replies that the girl is sleeping in her room. The lady with red hair says that it is clear and suggests not to wake the girl because she should not know about this. The woman also asks what the other girl is doing, and the maid replies that she is still in the dining room. The lady with red hair claims that this is excellent and that before Irina returns, she should install something in her room. The woman places the object on the table and claims that she had to try hard to get this audio and video recording device. With his help, she will be able to collect the necessary evidence, and this girl is probably leading a man into her bedroom. Every night the woman heard voices behind the door. The main character was talking to someone, after which he kept whispering that she had said it was forbidden. Therefore, the woman claims she doesn't know how the girl hasn't been caught yet. But when she receives evidence, the Duke will not leave it alone and will throw her out of there in disgrace. The maid says that this is what one would expect from the head maid and offers to launch this magical device. The woman picks up the paper and is about to see how to use it. While these two are trying to figure out the device, Lime jumps onto the cabinet. The maid plays the sound she just made and claims the device is working. A short while later, the woman asks if the recording device they installed yesterday is working properly. The maid replies that yes, but she did not notice anything unusual about the lady and would not have been standing there doing nothing. The head maid says that it is good and asks what the girl is doing now, to which the other replies that she's in the library and will need some time to return. The lady with red hair claims that she will take the recording devices and I know the maid should keep an eye on her. She agrees, after which the woman enters the room. She examines it and realizes she's certain the idiot brought someone there. But when the woman lifts the blanket from the bed, she thinks it's strange because she can't find a single hair, let alone traces. All that was left was to check the recording. After that, the woman removed the recording device from the chair and realized it had been hanging there all along. So now you can check everything and find out. But at the same moment, the maid sees books about demons. One of them is about the monsters of the north, and a woman thinks that maybe a lady is dating a knight from the extermination squad, and if she collects evidence, then this girl will be finished. But at that very moment, someone turns to Rose and asks what she is doing there. The woman turns to Lady Irina and, with a smile on her face, asks if she's already back. Rose also claims there was so much dust that she decided to clean up. But the main character asks if she's really doing it just with her bare hands. The woman replies that she's already finished. The lady asks if this is really true, after which she says that she did well and can now get lost. When the woman is outside the door, she gets angry and says, "What impudence!" At that very moment, another maid runs up to her and apologizes, claiming that the girl left so quickly that she didn't even have time to say a word to her. Rose sighs and says that, okay, she took the recorder anyway, and now it's time to check it. After which, they play the recording, and you can hear the voice of the main character, who says that she also likes and calls someone cutie. The woman understands that even though only the voice of the scoundrel Irina can be heard, it is enough evidence and, fortunately, today she needs to see the Duke, so this will be the end of the girl. Slime, at this time, overhears everything about the main character, telling him that it is dangerous, and invites him to come to her. The girl also notices how much dust there is on the duvet cover and wonders what the maid cleaned there. No matter how much she thought about it, it was all suspicious. In short, at this point, she turned to the lady. And then he takes something out of himself. The main character is shocked and asks if he's really feeling nauseous. Slime is no less surprised by this, after which he shakes his head in disagreement and talks about the video recording. Irina asks if it's a recording device, but she doesn't understand why he has it. Meanwhile, Slime talks about a bad person and revenge. And when he presses the ball, it begins to play the recording. The maid and teacher then greet the Duke. The man tells them to begin their reports, after which one of them agrees and states that Lady Sortie has succeeded in learning etiquette. The man replies that it seems she has now become more like a human being, and that he will marry her off immediately after the coming-of-age ceremony. At the same moment, the headmaid asks the Duke for forgiveness for blocking the door, but claims that she has an urgent report. After all, she thinks Lady Sortie is bringing a man into the tower. The Duke asks what she's talking about, to which the lady replies that she's been hearing their conversations every night, so they installed a recording device in the tower. And she has compelling evidence. After which the woman turns on the recording, the main character watching all this, says what bastards they are. Not only are they stealing her gifts, but they're also eavesdropping. The girl screams that this is beyond all bounds, but then realizes there's something else strange going on. Such a device requires magical knowledge, so the lady wonders how the slime could use it. The main character also turns to the slime and asks if it knows how to use magic. Well, at that very moment, the lady hears someone screaming that this can't be. It turns out to be the head maid, and she claims that she definitely heard the voice on the recording. That's why she wonders why there is no sound, and the man wonders if she really interrupted him over such a trifle. The woman immediately bows and replies that she won't answer. The device must be broken, but if he asks the other maids. The Duke immediately asks if she can prove it, and the woman asks if it really needs to be done right now. To which the man replies that this is exactly it and he doesn't care whether it's a knight, a monster, or some kind of worm. But he gives Rose one last chance and orders her to go and find out who this girl is bringing. The man claims that they better hurry up, after which he steps on the recording device and claims that he is not a very patient person. The main character understands that they have problems, because the maid will soon arrive, after which she even tells the slime to come to her. The girl opens the window and throws out the device that recorded the conversation between the maid and the Duke. She realizes that she needs to get rid of the recording first and then free the slimes before the maids arrive. A short time later, the maid cries out to Lady Sortie and claims that this is his lordship's order. So let her leave the room right now. When they lead the girl to the dungeon, she screams for them to leave her alone. And she wonders what all this is about, since she can walk on her own. But at that very moment, she's thrown onto the floor in some room. And as they close the door, they tell the lady to sit quietly. When they leave, the main character turns to the slime and asks if he's okay, but he only gets angry. The girl strokes his head and asks him not to be angry, and also asks if he remembers what she told him. In case of danger, he must escape to the north, and he needs to go to the Choco Forest right now. There's a hut there you can hide in. Afterwards, the slime makes a sound with tears in its eyes. And the main character replies that today is the perfect time to escape, and asks if he will be able to find his way on his own. When the lady sends the slime away, she says that she will be fine, so he should leave quickly. The baby looks at her for the last time and makes a sound, and then jumps out of the window. Irina thinks that thank God he was able to escape, because she was in such a hurry that she forgot about the scarf. But she's still glad he wasn't caught. At that moment, the slime returns and makes a sound. The main character, shocked, asks if it's really a slime. She also asks how he found the recording she threw away, and the slime claims he also brought some bread. The girl immediately takes him in her arms and rejoices, but then screams out, why he came again. The lady sighs and says that if she had known that everything would be like this, she would have been more attentive in magic lessons. She also turns to the slime and asks if he by any chance possesses movement magic. After all, she'd heard that you could use it to travel anywhere you wanted. Slime then made that puzzled face. And the girl wonders if he really doesn't know anything at all, and also thinks what to do now. The lady claims there will be no end to the trouble if he gets caught. Meanwhile, the kid hands the lady some bread, and she thanks him, and also claims that she will now pull herself together and pull herself together. At that moment, the lady hears someone ask if Baron Folin gave her the money. Another maid replies that he was not taken away and said that this information was useless. The main character wonders if they are really selling information about the Duke's family. If this is true, then it would be useful to record their conversation. One of the ladies claims that last time the Baron gave her a considerable sum, but today he was unlucky, and lately she is too afraid to divulge any information to him. After all, if the Duke finds out, he'll definitely put her into eternal sleep. Another maid tells her not to worry, because as long as they keep their mouths shut, no one will know. But one of them asks, what if someone overhears them and provides proof? The next morning, the main character turns to the slime and tells him to get up. It's time to get out of there. The girl also says that she will take the donkey and offers to go, but he asks if they won't go together, to which the lady replies that she already said so, that she can't go yet. Slime immediately asserts that he will protect, but the lady cries out, asking him to listen to her at least now. The lady, with tears in her eyes, affirms that she also wants to protect him. The slime almost cries at this, and the girl offers to negotiate with him. After all, she'll definitely come and take him from the hut in Choco Forest. After that, the girl rises and asks if the slime can open the lock. The baby immediately takes the form of a key, and the main character says how smart he is. He also asks him not to take his pocket out, to which he agrees. The maid outside the door, shocked, turns to the lady and asks how they opened the door. The girl replies that her father ordered her to be released so she could talk. One of the maids asks if she's talking about the Duke, and Irina replies that's exactly it, that they should get out of the way. One of the maids insists she'll ask the head maid, but for now, the lady shouldn't come out. But the main character wonders if she really wants to say that the maid is superior to her father. The girl replies that no, but she must check the truth of the lady's words. At this time, the main character takes out a ball with a recording and claims that if it is so important, then they won't mind if she reports them to her father, after which the lady makes a recording, where one of the maids claims that the Baron gave her a sizable sum last time, but today she's had no luck. After a few more sentences, the recording ends. The maid, shocked, asks how she could have recorded this conversation. The main character replies that they themselves understand what will happen to them for this, and if they don't want consequences, they'll have to cooperate with her. The brunette immediately cries out, wondering if the girl had been eavesdropping on them this whole time. Irina wonders if this is so important now, because with such evidence, they won't get off with a simple punishment. And also, if they don't want to end up in prison, then let them get out of the way right now. At that very moment, the maids move aside, and at that very moment, someone else approaches the lady, and he asks what Irina is doing. The maid immediately turns to Mistress Bella, but the girl replies that the person who opened the door on the Duke's orders was her. And the girl asks if she can take Irina with her, after which the maids exchange glances. They also say it's fine, and the lady can pass through. Bella asks how long the girl will stand there and suggests they go. The protagonist agrees, but wonders why the girl is playing along. Did the Duke really ask her to come? Well, a little while later, Irina claims that this road does not lead to her father and also asks where they are going. When her interlocutor is silent, the main character claims that she doesn't have time to follow her. Bella stops after this and asks if the girl didn't want to let the slime go. The main character is shocked by this and wonders how she found out, but her interlocutor tells her not to be so surprised. After all, she only found out about it recently. Irina is wondering what to do and how to justify herself. At that very moment, she feels very ill and starts coughing up red liquid. Bella turns to her and asks what's wrong, and the main character replies that it's just a cough. The lady with red hair is silent at this time, but remembers how her mother addressed her. And she also said that the girl should watch carefully after this girl had fallen into eternal sleep. She will take the place of the Duke's daughter. Bella asked if Irina would really fall into eternal sleep. Looking at the girl, the lady wondered if she wasn't taking her medication, but at that moment, one of the maids whispered to the other, "Did she hear the girl cough at the table?" The other lady replied that yes, and that girl had no etiquette at all, not even covering her mouth with her hand. And the Duke's daughter was supposed to be Bella. Another of them asked how long it would take for Lady Sortie to fall into eternal sleep from the poison they put in her food. At this point, Bella is in shock and wonders if she really only knows what she said about the poison. The lady also understood that she needed to get to Irina quickly. She then headed toward the girl with tea. Now the lady with red hair claims that back on the first day, when Irina drank poison, she took the tea and went to her room, and then she saw this creature. The girl, looking at it, wondered if it could really be a slime. She also didn't understand where Irina got it, but she wondered if it wasn't a dangerous monster. At this time, the main character began to spin in her sleep, and the slime turned to her with concern. The red-haired lady wondered why the girl was so calm around him, but now she claims she initially thought he was dangerous, but Irina's calmness changed her mind. Then she thought, what if everything she knew was wrong? The main character asks in shock. Doesn't Bella hate her? And the maid, in shock, asks what she's talking about, and she didn't actually say that she felt sympathy for her. So, let the lady not be mistaken, and she does this not for her sake, but for her own. After all, she doesn't want to remain in the dark any longer, so let Irina hurry up. After all, she gives her 5 minutes for everything. The main character, with a smile on her face, insists that this will be enough. She thanks Bella and says she'll be back soon, Irina thinks how timely she's arrived, and now she needs to find a safe place to release the slime behind the castle where the water flows. There, the slime can safely descend down the river. When the lady turns around the castle, she sees this place. The lady bends down to the water and tells the slime to go down this river. The little one turns to her with concern. But the girl asks if he knows where the hut she spoke of is, and if so, let him wait for her there. The lady also suggests meeting again when they grow up, and claims that she did not think that this would be her last gift. Well, when she wraps the slime in a scarf, she tells him to never lose it. At this time, the baby, with tears in his eyes, asks if he can stay here because he can't leave her. The main character replies that it is impossible, because then his father will definitely put him into eternal sleep. The girl also claims that they will definitely meet again, so there is no need to cry. At this time, Slime claims that he will become stronger and return, but the lady claims that there is no time and also suggests that he leave quickly. After which, he enters the water and swims away. Irina wishes him a safe journey. After which, wiping away her tears, she gets up and says that she doesn't have time for this because it's time to go back. But when the main character heads back, she doesn't see Bella anywhere and asks where she is. But at that very moment, she hears someone scream and realizes that it is definitely Bella's voice. The girl thinks something has definitely happened to her. Rose, meanwhile, screams that it's a misunderstanding. After all, her daughter is not guilty of anything and she was simply used, leaving no other choice. Irina is shocked and wonders how the Duke ended up there, and the woman turns to her daughter and asks her to tell her what Irina told her. After this, the girl only cries and turns away. The woman turns to the Duke and claims that her daughter must be very frightened, since it's obvious that the child and the knight have some kind of secret. But the Duke at the same moment turns to Rose and asks if she really thinks that this really happened, to so brazenly enter the Duke's estate and enjoy secret dates? After which he turns to Irina Sordi and asks what she will say. The girl understands that she needs to calm down, because the Duke could not have found out about the slime, and she just needs to pretend to be an idiot. Irina comes out from behind the tree and claims that she does not understand what the Duke is talking about. After all, she's never had a secret relationship with anyone. Rosa screams that this girl is lying and that others have heard it. Well, the man turns to her again and claims that since there is no evidence, he will have to punish her. After which, he orders the headmaid to be thrown into prison. When the knights approach the woman, she tells them not to touch her. And Bella screams in shock at her mother and then turns to the Duke. I claim that she saw that Irina had a slime and she released it into the river near the estate. The main character turns to the girl in shock and asks how she could do such a thing. But the girl only apologizes and claims that she cannot allow her mother to fall into eternal sleep. At this time, the man asks if she is talking about the slime and also orders to search every meter around the estate and put it into eternal sleep. At this time, Slime climbs ashore and claims that he will still go with Irina. But at that very moment, someone stands in front of him and asks if he is really the same slime that the Duke ordered to be plunged into eternal sleep. The knight also wonders how he dares to force him to run after such an insignificant monster. After which he starts squeaking words and is about to run away, but the man asks where this bastard is going. The knight also cries out that he will have to use his abilities when he casts the circle. Then a rock falls in front of the slime, and a man, heading after it with a knife, smiles and claims that he simply cannot let it escape. And if he puts the slime into eternal sleep, the Duke will reward him well. Then he uses magic on his blade, and he throws it at the slime, leaking right through it. The man claims that now he looks even more insignificant. After which he lifts the handkerchief and claims that this will serve as proof of his immersion in eternal sleep. At this time, Slime makes pitiful sounds and realizes that they were supposed to meet Irina. He promised to reach the cabin in the northern forest. After that, he began using magic and teleportation. And at that very moment, she finds herself near the hut. The slime crawls towards her and in front of the door. He thinks only of Irina. Meanwhile, the lady's brother approaches with the artifact in his hands. He understands that with such magic, he will be able to get an antidote from his father, and his sister will definitely be happy to hear this news. Well, then the guy realizes that he also remembered that nasty slime. When the guy drives up to the gates of the estate, the man congratulates him on his safe return from the crow's forest. The blonde thanks him but asks where the Baron is from and what he has in his hand. The man replies that he plunged the lime into eternal sleep on the orders of the Duke and took these clothes as proof. The blonde, shocked, asks what he's talking about, and the man laughs and claims that it's to prove that he's fallen into eternal sleep. At this time, the guy remembers how his sister said that this slime is so soft and she likes it. She also claimed that if Valentine tortured him, he would have huge problems. And now the guy wonders if this man really plunged him into an eternal sleep with lime. A little while later, the boy bursts into his sister's room and cries out to her in concern. The girl is surprised, but tells her brother to go through because she is so glad that he returned safe and sound. She also thanks him for keeping his promise, but Valentine turns to the girl, and he says she needs to know something. Baron Fallen brought the handkerchief that the girl gave to that brat. As proof of his immersion in eternal sleep, Irina cries out in shock that this can't be true, and that no one even knows the way. And can you really say he's dead, just because of the scarf? The girl says that the slime is definitely living in this place. There's no way he could have fallen into eternal sleep. The guy replies that this is true, and this simply cannot be because he is definitely hiding somewhere, so the lady should not cry. The main character understands that only he supported her in this lonely house, and Islam is special and can also use magic. So she begs him to stay alive. 5 years later, someone claims there will soon be a debutante ball and asks if it's true. Her interlocutor replies that this is true and that the young ladies are very beautiful. Her interlocutor claims that they say that this time the same girl from the rumors will be attending the ball. And this is the youngest daughter of the Duke of Sordi. The girl was very ill and therefore did not appear in public. But she's such a beauty, and her name is Irina Sordi. At this moment, the Duke enters his daughter's room. But when the main character is about to greet him, the man is only interested in how many calendula petals are on her wrist. The lady replies that there are 4, and the man says that this is good because they are almost there. Archduke Ruslan is about to return from the demonic war, so by then, they should all be in bloom. Irina wonders if Archduke Ruslan has already closed all the magical gates and declared victory, but it should have taken much longer. The lady doesn't understand how this happened, and her father wonders if something really happened. The girl apologizes, claiming she felt a little tightness in her chest, which is why she made that face. After which the man, clicking his tongue, says it doesn't matter. This time the debutante ball coincides with the victory ceremony in the war, and they say that he doesn't like social events, so he has no idea what's on his mind, but understands that this is their chance. The Duke claims that he will make his move and the lady will try to seduce him so that he will propose to her. And besides, since she is destined to meet him on the street, he allows the lady to leave the estate. The main character understands that this is it, and he has finally allowed her to escape from this unbearable estate. The lady claims that she understood the Duke and thinks that, whatever one may say, Archduke Ruslan returned from the war too early. It would be problematic if the plot changed too much, but at that very moment, the lady hears someone speaking to her. It turns out to be Bella. The maid wonders what the girl was so lost in thought that she didn't even notice her. The girl also claims that today is her first appointment and asks why she's not going. Irina wonders if she's imagining things or if Bella is happier about it than she is. If you look at it that way, Bella has changed a lot since the original story. That day, she even came to her and apologized. The girl claimed that she was very sorry because she could not allow her mother to fall into eternal sleep. But from that moment on, she vowed to always be by her side. Now the girl asks why Irina is so silent, and the main character, with a smile on her face, claims that, as Bella said, this is her first trip to the salon, so she will go get ready. A little while later, one of the maids whispers to another whether she's heard that the Archduke has been overzealous in this war. The other replies that yes, even his fine work is still covered in wounds. But at that very moment, one of the men makes a sound and asks why they are making so much noise in front of the Archduke's room. It turns out to be the butler, and the maids immediately apologize. The man knocks on the master's door and claims it's Gregory. The guy says that it's good and he can go in, but when the butler enters the room, he claims that the wounds are still deep. He also asks why the gentleman did this, but he only smiles and claims that he had no choice. After all, she needs to prepare to receive special guests. Meanwhile, the main character is heading off in a carriage. The maid hands the lady a list of guests invited today, and the girl thanks her. She understands that in order to escape from the Duke, she needs to find an accomplice. In the original, there was one important character present at today's reception, and her name was Ellie Isla. This girl is the daughter of the Marquis, and another candidate for the role of Ruslan's wife. But Irina doesn't know if she'll communicate with her since they're now rivals. But the lady understands that she can only meet her assistants at the cafe where she takes her close friends. So she should befriend her. A little while later, someone turns to Mrs. Isla and says she looks wonderful today. Another girl agrees and asks how one can be so charming. The lady with pink hair asks what they are saying because all the ladies present there are no less charming. Someone else then turns to the lady and asks if she has heard the recent rumors because they say that one of the guests, Mrs. Sordi, is an incredible beauty. The lady asks if this is true, and the other girl smiles awkwardly and claims that no matter how you look at it, Mrs. Isla is still more beautiful. Her friend replies that this is true, and besides, this is her first appointment, so it is impolite to stay so late. At that moment, the main character enters the room and apologizes for being late. She also introduces herself, and at that very moment all the ladies are shocked and understand that this lady truly is an unspoken beauty. Ellie realizes she needs to pull herself together. After all, no matter how much she loves beautiful things, this girl is her rival. The pink-haired lady greets the protagonist and claims they've been waiting for her. She then asserts that since everyone is here, they can begin. Irina wonders what they will start. Her interlocutor claims that Lady Sortie doesn't know anything yet. They gather to become friends and improve their manners, but they also practice foreign languages before their debut. One of the ladies claims that she is worried that Lady Sortie will be uncomfortable and unable to learn a foreign language on her own without attending the academy. The pink-haired lady asks why they don't do Lady Sortie a favor and start from scratch. The main character understands that they look down on her because she didn't attend the academy and this is, after all, a kindergarten. But the girl still thanks them for their attention. Ellie claims that they have been waiting for this moment for a long time, so they need to begin, to which the ladies agree and claim that today they will speak in the ancient language. Well, the lady with pink hair asks, weren't they going to start from the basics? And the ancient language is complicated. Another girl replies that Lady Isla was an excellent student in the linguistics department, so she shouldn't pretend that it's hard for her. The main character at this time only smiles and thinks whether she should demonstrate her skills. After which, she thanks everyone in a foreign language for their courtesy. She claims that of all the foreign languages, ancient is the easiest for her. The pink-haired lady claims it's difficult to master, even at the academy, so how did she manage to do it? Irina replies that she learned it on her own while recovering. Along with them, there are 10 other languages, including Northern, Russian, and Attilian. The girl insists this cannot be true. And she cries out how a lady who didn't go to the academy can know 10 languages. At that moment, Ellie covers her mouth and realizes she blurted it out in the heat of the moment. Then, she goes on to say it. She excuses herself to go to the ladies' room for a minute and runs off. Meanwhile, the main character turns to the others and asks them to wait for her too. When the girl leaves the room, she tries to catch up with Mrs. Isla and addresses her several times. The lady with pink hair then turns around and screams, asking why the girl is following her. The main character replies that she wanted to talk to her alone, but her interlocutor asks what they can talk in. Irina claims that she wanted to thank Letty for the kindness shown to her, but her interlocutor asks when she did that. But without finishing her sentence, she immediately stops and asks if Mrs. Sortie is really making fun of her now. The girl replies that of course not, and that it was just her first time there and she really needed help. And also, in fact, because she never left the estate, she has no friends at all. She would really like to befriend Lady Isla. The lady with pink hair thinks how beautiful this girl is and wonders if she will really become her first friend. The main character takes her arm and says yes, and also if the lady doesn't mind. They could have chatted more after the reception. Ellie understands that it would be hard to refuse such a beauty. But she realizes she needs to calm down as this girl is her rival. The pink-haired lady says fine, and if she likes, they can see each other after the reception. Irina thanks her and realizes things are looking up. Well, she also claims that she doesn't know any good places to go, and if the lady doesn't mind, she couldn't choose one herself. A little while later, the main character enters a cafe and asks if this is Lady Isla's favorite place. The pink-haired lady replies that yes, and few people know about it since it's located on the outskirts, but the desserts there are truly delicious. She invites only close people there, and since Lady Irina expressed a desire to become friends with her, she decided to bring her to this cafe. The main character thanks the lady and claims this part is for her. A short time later, the girl is already sampling the desserts. And he says that it is very tasty because, as the lady said, the desserts there are wonderful. At this time, Ellie asks if Lady Irina knows that she is her rival. Many would like to become friends with such a beautiful lady. Well, at that very moment, the girl realizes she's gone too far again. The main character insists that it's okay. She would very much like Lady Isla to become her friend. She also apologizes for disturbing her. At the same moment, one of the workers apologizes to Lady Isla, but claims that the Marquis will return soon and she has not forgotten about dinner with him. The girl looks at her watch and asks if so much time has already passed. She also apologizes to Lady Irina and claims she has to leave first today. The protagonist says she's certainly sorry, but thanks her for finding time for her in such a busy schedule. After which, the pink-haired girl runs away and says goodbye to Irina. After she leaves, the main character understands. It's time to meet the master of the Dark Guild. The girl approaches the waiter and asks if he could give her a menu. The guy hands it over and the girl realizes that in the original, it was the best information guild. With her master as her assistant, she'll be able to learn about Duke Sortie. But to meet the guild master, she needs to solve a problem, but she's given 1 minute to solve it. The main character understands that this is it. and asks if he will pass something on to the master. After all, she will answer this question. The blonde is in his office at this time. He slams his hand on the table and claims that this is just another useless scribble. The guy also wants to know when the information he needs will be available. At that very moment, someone knocks on the door and claims it's him. The blonde asks what happened because he is so out of breath, but the young man claims that just one lady was able to answer that question. The guy asks what she answered, after which the guy talks about it. And she claims that she also said that the answer to this question does not depend on her, but on Mr. Halcyon. The butler also claims to send her back, but the blonde man tells him to bring the girl to him. The butler asks what he's talking about, and the guy repeats again that he should bring the lady to him, to which he agrees. The blonde understands that finally a person has been found who has experienced all the charm of a happy imagination. He also begins to imagine who she is. At that very moment, the door to the room opens, and when a man sees a lady, he wonders if she is the very same precious daughter of the Duke of Sorty. The girl asks if he really knows her. The guy replies that, of course, the mysterious lady is the Information Guild's main target, but he never imagined she'd answer that question. The main character, Vatava, suggests they talk about it later. He also approaches Halcyon Sphinx and offers to make a deal with her. The guy then claims that he thought he had finally found someone he could talk to and that he was not interested in that. The main character asks if he is not at all interested in what information she can provide. The guy replies that for the master of such a guild, this doesn't matter at all, hey, the girl is interested. Is this really true even if the information is about his brother? The girl comes closer and claims his name is Myron Sphinx, and he's 13 years old. This special ability is to see the future, and it is passed down through the Sphinx family. At the same moment, a dagger is presented to the girl's neck, and the blondes ask how she found out about it. The girl tells him to put the knife away and asks if he is really going to hurt the Duke's daughter. But the guy only tells her to answer where she found out about this or to plunge into eternal sleep there. The main character asks if even if she is the only one who knows where his brother is, the young man asks why he should believe her. Irina claims her brother was kidnapped and is now in the northern village of Osiria. He has lost his memory and is unable to return. Therefore, he should save him as soon as possible before the slave traders find out about him. At this time, the blonde asks what she wants for this information. The girl replies that everything is very simple. After all, she wants him to give her a full report on Duke Sortia. Halcyon asks if all this is really for such a simple deal. Well, the main character says that no matter what, she needs him to steal the Archbishop's rosary from the capital's central shrine. At this point, one of the servants asks the master what it is. The Archduke replies that these are gifts, and the guy asks who there are so many for. The brunette asks, "Can't you see that this is all for a marriage proposal?" The butler immediately cries out what the gentleman just said, and shouldn't he first find out about the lady's tastes? To which the guy replies that he did just that. Well, the servant wonders if this is what the gentleman is going to make proposals for, and if gifts shouldn't be beautiful. The brunette tells him not to worry, because he's prepared something like that too. The guy asks what's beautiful, and his master replies that his body, after which his interlocutor cries out what this even means. The Archduke just mounts his horse and says that the servant is so noisy, so he should better load the gifts into the carriage. At this time, someone approaches the Empress and claims that he has prepared a luxurious reward for the Archduke. The woman wonders if he is talking about today's victory ceremony. The man replies that it's something better, and his wife realizes she can't even imagine what he's up to next. She's also wondering what kind of child this is. But he understands that this gives him access to the Akashic records, a divine power passed down from generation to generation. It connects the mind with the library of knowledge that forms the world. By entering it with the soul and leaving the body in reality, one can discover all the knowledge of the world. But there is one requirement, and in order to receive this power, a person must be spiritually pure and his mind must be completely empty so that he can perceive this vast knowledge. The woman understands that this is similar to lifelong education, and the man asserts, apparently, Archduke Ruslan is ready to propose, and if he has decided to take such a step, it means it is true love. So as a reward, he will give him a blessing for the marriage that no one can dispute. The Empress then puts down her mug and turns to His Majesty, asking what kind of true love we are talking about, and also whether he has forgotten what flows in his veins. It's incomprehensible that a monster with a demonic red liquid could love someone. But the Emperor turns to the Empress, who rises from the table and suggests they stop acting so recklessly. Her husband insists that the Archduke is serious, and he senses it. But the woman suggests that His Majesty stop and go out, because the long-awaited ceremony in honor of the victory is beginning. At this time, people on the street are whispering among themselves, and one of them claims that she heard that the Archduke is incredibly handsome, and she can't even believe that she will be able to see him in person. At that moment, someone says it looks like he'll be arriving any minute. The main character realizes that the original ceremony wasn't quite so lavish, and she hopes that this time, everything will go smoothly. At that very moment, one of the bowmen cries out that the Empire's chief swordsman, His Highness Archduke Ruslan Alexeyev de Kekt, has arrived. So let them greet the safely returned hero. The main character looks at this guy. He wonders if he's really the novel's protagonist. Meanwhile, people in the crowd are commenting on how cool he is and asking if he's for real. And he's in such great shape too. Bella turns to the main character and insists he's even more handsome than everyone said. Irina says that it is true, and also thinks that he is so handsome that she cannot take her eyes off him. The Emperor immediately comes out and greets Archduke Ruslan. The brunette immediately bows, and he greets the son of the Empire. The Emperor claims to be impressed that the boy closed all the demonic gates for the sake of the Empire. Ruslan replies that it was his job after all. The Emperor says his words are admired, so he's prepared a reward for him. Afterwards, he calls his secretary over, who begins reading the list of awards. The main character wonders if he'll receive the Northern Ice Peninsula, just like in the original. But at the same moment, the secretary reads that the Archduke will receive 10,000-year-old ginseng found by the previous emperor, the crystalline core of a 1,000-year-old snake, and also mork scales. The main character is shocked, wondering if this is really a reward for military service, and who would even like that. And the secretary quickly adds that there are about 100 more medicines. At this time, the ladies are whispering to each other, is this really what the Archduke wanted? And how little this is for such merits? At this time, the Emperor turns to the Archduke and asks if he would like to receive anything else. The man replies that there is something, and when His Majesty asks what it is, the guy claims he wanted the son of the Empire to bless his marriage. The ladies understand that he's asking the Emperor himself for this. Then he must really love this girl, and the main character is wondering what kind of wedding he is even talking about. The girl also wonders if his true love has appeared, or if he has met the main character. It seems that even the Duke is not aware of this, and the lady does not understand how this happened. At this time, the Emperor says that he knew it and his intuition did not fail him, so he can't wait to find out the name of this lady. The man also claims that the Duke's brother blesses him in the name of the Emperor, and the main character realizes that she is in complete trouble. She, of course, is sorry that he has already found his true love, because her life depends on this marriage. A short time later, the aristocrats are at a ball, and the girl realizes the plot is different from the original and everything is so complicated. Ruslan unexpectedly asks the Emperor for his blessing, which he immediately grants. Irina wonders what is going on there. Even the Duke himself didn't know about it. The man claimed that since he had found love with my girlfriend, he needed to sort it out before the wedding. Irina wonders if she really should seduce Ruslan. At that moment, someone announces that His Majesty the Emperor, Her Majesty the Empress, and His Highness Archduke Ruslan has arrived. The main character looks at the Archduke. She realizes that he is much more handsome than she imagined while reading the novel, and that he has a great body. But then, the lady realizes that she has the feeling that he is watching her. Or maybe she's just mistaken, but the girl thinks it doesn't look like it. The guy looks at her and smiles. Irina wonders what that smirk is all about, and he's even looking her straight in the eyes. At that very moment, someone says that Irina is incredibly beautiful today. It turns out to be Marcus Eigold, and the girl asks him why he's calling. The man replies that Duke Sordi has done him the honor of dancing with her. The main character wonders if her father really said that, and then he smiles and says it's a great honor for her. Her interlocutor replies that the feeling is mutual, and the girl wonders how that idiot Sordi dares force her to dance with that pervert Egolda. At this time, he says that the lady blossomed like a flower, and the main character laughs awkwardly and claims that she would compare him to, but when she almost says the word parasite, she corrects herself and claims that the amazing scientist, Gingergi, is the third. After which, this guy asks her to dance, and the brunette watches all this, after which he tells His Majesty that he needs to step away for a minute. The Emperor asks where he's going in such a hurry. The guy replies that they want to dance, and the man says what a surprise that is. He also asks who the lady is who made him so suddenly want to dance, to which the guy replies that he'll find out soon. Irina is wondering if she should step on this guy's foot and pretend she can't dance. But at that very moment, someone puts a hand on his shoulder and claims that this lady is already with him. So the guy had better leave, and quickly, after which the brunette apologizes to Lady Irina. He also asks if she would do him the honor of dancing. The main character wonders if he really asked her to dance and if it really is Duke Ruslan. The girl claims that this part is for her and wonders if it is really he who wants to marry her. But then the ladies claim that this is their first meeting and how can there be a wedding? It's some kind of nonsense. Well, at least it's better to dance with such a handsome man than with that old ugly man. In the novel, it was said that Ruslan doesn't know how to dance, but dancing with him now, you can say that he put a lot of effort into it. And it's even a bit strange. The guy turns to Irina Sordia and claims he can give her what she wants. The main character asks if this is true, and does he really know her thoughts, to which the guy replies that yes, and she also wants to be kidnapped. But before the guy can finish his sentence, someone sneezes. When he is about to finish it, the butler starts coughing loudly and claims that he feels really bad. The main character claims that his assistant looks sick and asks if everything will be okay if they leave, but the guy tells her not to pay attention. And he asks if the lady would like to come out onto the terrace with him for a little while when this dance is over. The main character asks why, and the guy, approaching her, claims that he has a gift for her. Irina asks if this is really for her, but at that moment she hears that the music has ended. The brunette bows to the lady and says that they will see each other on the terrace, and the girl wonders if he really said that he has a gift for her. She can't even imagine what it could be. When a lady goes outside, she sees it. A brunette standing among lilacs. When the main character approaches, the guy asks her if she likes the flower. The girl thinks and realizes that she likes lilacs because the slime always brought them. The lady also asks how he found out about this, and the guy is silent for a while, after which he claims that he also likes lilacs. Irina thinks that he scared her, and why did it seem so much like a confession? The girl thanks him for the dance and flowers, but wonders why the Archduke is so kind to her. The guy awkwardly asks if there needs to be a reason for this, and the girl replies that he himself said that he already has a girlfriend. Irina wonders if he found out that the Duke was bullying her and so decided to appease her so that she would start working for him. The main character tells His Highness the Archduke that if he needs her help, he doesn't have to try so hard. After all, she'd be happy to collaborate with him. The guy claims he's glad to hear this and there's something he'd like to do with the lady, just as she wanted. But when the guy is about to tell her about the kidnapping, the butler bursts onto the balcony and shouts that it's impossible. The Archduke asks what he's talking about, and the guy simply greets the lady and claims his name is Vasily Mutin. He's not only the Archduke's assistant, but also a real handsome man. The guy also apologizes but claims that he has urgent business and Mr. Young would be very grateful if the lady would leave them for a while. After which the main character agrees and is promptly shown the door. Irina thinks it's a shame, of course. It wasn't possible to hear Ruslan out to the end. Meanwhile, the butler asks the gentleman what he's even thinking about and continues talking about the kidnapping and captivity. And the guy replies that he's talking about the wedding, but the servant cries out, "Is His Highness really serious? And shouldn't everything proceed gradually? Because if the Duke finds out about this, then war cannot be avoided and he knows what kind of person he is." The guy claims that this is why he wanted to kidnap her at first, but the butler constantly prevents him from doing so. He also asks if it's really necessary to start the weddings after all. The servant once again inquires about the master's situation. But he replies that he'll propose to her tomorrow. The butler is shocked, and then he collapses completely, and also tells His Highness to put him into eternal sleep. The brunette asks why he should do this, and the servant replies that if he really is going to propose to her, it would be better to put him into eternal sleep. But His Highness replies that he won't go back on his word. The boy thinks how stubborn he is and how he can't allow the gentleman to propose to her tomorrow. The butler claims that he does not think that the father's lady is not developing events so quickly. His master asks if this is really so, and a servant replies that this is exactly it and whispers to the master whether it seems so. Why propose when they haven't really communicated yet? It's stupid, because there's no romance there at all. The brunette wonders what the best course of action is then, and the servant wonders if he really succeeded. His master claims that he trained a lot because she said that she liked a man with a good body, and now he's terrified of being rejected. The butler then turns to the gentleman and realizes he's never behaved like that before. He also asks what else the lady likes, but the brunette asks how many times he has to tell her, since she enjoys kidnapping. The servant immediately yells for the master to stop, and he replies that he understands. The servant claims that first of all it is worth finding out what the lady likes, and let him remember that the proposal is not the first item on the list. At this time, someone approaches Mrs. Irina and asks if she would grant him the honor of dancing with her. The main character, smiling, asks what to do, as, unfortunately, she's feeling very dizzy, but she's silently cursing, wondering if her father has really sent him another one. The lady asks for forgiveness again, and her interlocutor replies that it's nothing to worry about. Irina understands that it is also difficult to constantly refuse, and if she stays there she will only interfere, so it is better to go out into the corridor. When the main character does this, someone approaches her and greets her. The girl immediately turns around, wondering who it is, but the guy takes off his mask and asks why she's so surprised, because he's actually offended. Irina asks what he was hoping for when he came up to her so unexpectedly, and the guy replies that he thought Lita would react differently. At this time, the main character is wondering if he found his brother in the place she spoke of. The blonde replies that yes, and they took him away from there safe and sound, so he thanks the lady. He also hands over the rosary she was looking for, and the protagonist thanks him. The guy asks what she will do with him, and whether she has really decided to get involved in religion. But at that very moment, the lady tears down the rose garden, and the guy is shocked. He says it's truly impressive. The main character claims that she didn't need the rose garden, but the lapis lazuli from it. Archduke Ruslan had always been obsessed with fighting demons and preventing them from breaking free. To do this, he needed a sacred object capable of purifying the spirit, namely, lapis lazuli, which is a stone that with its golden light indicates that something needs cleansing. The girl understands that the Duke already has a similar half, but now she has a whole one, and with his help, even without a wedding, she will be able to make a deal with the Archduke to find an antidote to Kalinda's poison in the Forest of the Dead. At this time, the blonde says that he doesn't know why he feels sorry and that he is needed, but he hopes that everything will work out and asks if she doesn't need anything else. Irina replies that there is something and asks to find out about the location of Islam in the north. Was there anyone like that with a scar under his eye? Because she also has a friend whom she would like to save. A little while later, the brunette is already sitting opposite the main character, and she is wondering why he came to her. First, he invited her to dance, and now he shows up at her house, and it seems he wants to please the main gossips of high society. At this time, the Archduke says that they haven't seen each other for a long time, and the main character notes that this is true. The lady wonders if they saw each other yesterday, but in any case, she has an important conversation to tell him. So, for her, even improvements, the lady turns to the Archduke and also offers to talk about the cooperation he spoke about yesterday. She thinks he did, but at that moment, the maids enter the room and claim they've brought tea. They bring it to the table, then stand near the wall and begin to whisper. The main character realizes that it seems the Duke ordered them to monitor what is happening. She needs to talk to Ruslan about the infirmary to make a deal, and she didn't know they could brew tea so quickly. So the lady merely offers to drink it while it's still warm. The girl also apologizes for the meager table and asserts that if the Archduke had told her of her arrival in advance, she would have treated him to something better. The guy replies that it's okay, because he came without warning, and that's enough for him. Irina thanks him for his words, but thinks how awkward she feels and what she can even talk to him about. The girl is wondering if she should try to seduce him and is told that she needs to somehow touch his neck to attract the attention of the opposite sex, or to the ear, after which the hair is gently brushed away. At this point, the guy notices the lady's movement, and then he asks her if she is uncomfortable, to which the girl replies that she is not at all. Irina thinks that if only she could seduce someone, because she and the man only had 2D. The girl asks the Archduke if he liked the tea, to which he replies that it was. He doesn't really know much about it, but the scent is pleasant. Irina, with a smile on her face, declares that she's glad to hear it. After all, they were served their favorite tea. Ruslan, looking at the lady, only became embarrassed. After which, he even thanks her. The main character thinks she doesn't know what happened, but his ears are cutely red. At the same moment, the lady begins to feel bad when she notices the brunette's gaze on her. She understands that she didn't drink the viburnum antidote today, and that's very bad. The Archduke must not notice this, because if he finds out that she is ill, he will never marry her. At this time, the guy asks how the lady is feeling, and he heard that she had previously been in poor health. Irina smiles and claims that everything is not so, because before she had a weak body, but now she eats well and is very healthy. The guy immediately gets up from his seat and declares that this cannot go on any longer, and he must take the lady north immediately. Irina asks what he means, and the guy replies that he doesn't think it's worth telling her about it now, but he asks her to go to the Archduchy as soon as possible. The girl doesn't understand what he's talking about, but then claims that if he invites her to his estate, she'll come with pleasure. After all, she had long wanted to visit the north, but the guy insists that this is not what he had in mind. And now, he's proposing to her. He's addressing Lady Irina Sordi. He also tells her to marry him. The girl wonders if she really just received a marriage proposal. And does Ruslan want to marry her? The marriage she'd been seeking for so long has finally happened, and she'll be able to escape the estate. The main character also agrees with the Archduke and proposes marriage. The young man, smiling, says he's glad the lady has agreed. He kisses her hand and declares that he'll immediately order his assistant to head north to announce their marriage. A short time later, one of the knights asks what this means, and whether the Archduke has really decided to marry the Duke of Soradia's daughter. His interlocutor replies that their ancient kinship has been their enemy. Therefore, it seems the world has gone mad. At that very moment, someone shouts out to Vasily and asks what he just said. This woman asks whether Archduke Ruslan and the daughter of the Duke of Soradia, with whom they have been feuding for several years, are planning to get married. The guy claims that, For the information of Lady Hope, His Highness strongly insisted on this marriage, and the woman wonders if this means that he can no longer be persuaded. She also asks what she should do, since she is so looking forward to this wedding. At this time, the Duke turns to Irina and claims that he heard this boy propose to her. The girl replies that everything is correct and all thanks to her father. The lady also understands that in a little while she will no longer have to see that face. At this time, the Duke turns to the maid and tells her to bring the document he left. He also tells the girl to sign before the Archduke changes his mind about agreeing to something. The lady puts her signature under his, and when she looks at Ruslan's signature, she realizes that for some reason she thought he had bad handwriting. But in fact, everything is not so. And this guy is full of surprises, and despite his indifferent appearance, he is very nice. The man claims that they will simplify the wedding with a premarital mass in church, which will be held in a week. But the main character wants to say that she will not have enough time to prepare. However, the man interrupts her mid-sentence and asks if she really meant to say that she doesn't have enough time. The main character replies that everything is wrong and there is not enough time, and the man suggests that she not forget about the flower on her wrist, and also remember that she must plunge Ruslan into eternal sleep, to which the girl agrees and claims that she knows. After all, this is precisely what her father raised her for. However, the girl thinks her goal is to surround the Duke, not Ruslan, with eternal sleep. A short time later, someone approaches the protagonist and asks if everything will be all right. Bella claims that despite his appearance, marrying such a man is a little scary and there are rumors that he is a real monster. And they say the demons were destroyed too quickly in this war. Irina replies that she's heard about it, but it's just rumors. The lady understands that it doesn't matter to her what kind of person this guy is because she just wants to escape from there as quickly as possible, and no one has cancelled the divorce. The lady with red hair turns to Irina and claims that the Duke said that he would send her with her. He ordered her to make sure the girl drank the poison, and she apologizes for not being able to help her. The main character tells Bella that everything is fine because anyone will notice if she stops singing it, and it could cause her a lot of trouble, which she wouldn't want. Irina also tells Bella not to worry, as she will never have to regret anything again. A short time later, the Empress addresses the Archduke and declares that the day has come when she can officially congratulate him on his wedding. After all, this is a special event, and she could not even imagine what would happen after the victory in the war. Ruslan will also want to marry the Duke of Sordia's daughter. The young man says it's good that Her Majesty already knows about this. The woman is silent for a while after this, and then claims that he can put demons into eternal sleep and conquer continents. Well, there is one thing that cannot be destroyed, and she thinks that he understands what she means. The young man asks if she really means the demonic red liquid that flows through his veins. The woman replies that this is true because this is his only flaw, and the guy's ancestors protected the imperial family for many generations. These were people with a demonic red liquid, and he thinks that the guy knows that this curse fell on their family because of the mistake of one person. Possessed by a humanoid demon, he gave birth to a child, and she knows that if their family does not see the red liquid for a long time, they go crazy. Well, the guy claims that in the end they don't even live to be 40 years old, because these demonic forces plunge them into eternal sleep. And they bury their bodies in the forest, where all the previous archdukes ended their lives with their own hands when they felt their death approaching. And only the Archduke and the imperial family know about this, but the guy asks why she mentioned this. The woman suggests getting down to business, because if he decides to use this marriage to strengthen his power and side with the Duke, the imperial family will never spare him. The boy then tries to contain his laughter and wonders if she's talking about a conspiracy with the Duke of Sordia, after which he seriously asserts that he is not going to shake his hands, but to cut them off. And its purpose is to plunge the Duke of Sordia into eternal sleep, so let Her Majesty not worry and celebrate heartily. The woman insists she'll remember his words, and the guy can go. He says he has her permission to deviate and then turns around. The Empress understands that the Archduke's eyes show he's serious. Meanwhile, people on the street are gossiping, and one of them claims to be shocked by the sudden announcement of the wedding. His interlocutor replies that yes, the Duke must be very sad, because he will still have to part with his daughter, although with such a handsome and stately groom everything will be fine. Someone else claims that this is true, and that he is even more handsome in his dress uniform, and he is even interested in how beautiful Lady Sordi will be. A little while later, the main character's carriage pulls up, and the girl addresses the Archduke. And she also asks if he really came to meet her, because if so, then she is so happy. The guy is embarrassed by this, and the main character turns to the Archduke once again. He says nothing, but at that very moment, Irina's father turns to her and insists that everyone is already waiting, so it's time to go in. She agrees. The brunette insists they'll see each other inside. A short time later, the man is already sitting in the church. The priest turns to the lady and asks if she is ready, to which the girl replies that she is, and also asks the priest to take care of them. The priest claims that at the Duke's request, today's ceremony will be simplified, and says that they should declare their love for each other and also sign wedding vows. But at that very moment, someone bursts into the church and screams for Irina to wait. It turns out that this is the main character's brother, and the girl asks if he shouldn't be at war. The guy replies that he heard the news about her wedding and hurried home as quickly as possible, but he can't believe the lady is getting married in his absence. He also wants to shout something about this marriage, but his father turns to him. He asks if the guy really ended the war so quickly to attend his younger sister's wedding, and he says that this is such a happy day for Irina, so let the young man sit next to him. At this time, the priest proposes to begin the wedding ceremony, and claims that it will take place in the sacred place in the sight of God. Two people want to swear that despite the hardships, they will go through all the difficulties together, and they will remain faithful to each other. He also asks if the groom vows before God to cherish and love his bride for the rest of his life, to which he replies that he swears, and the priest asks whether the bride swears before God to protect and love her groom all her life. Irina understands that now she is in a wedding dress, making vows before God, and it is all so exciting. She replies that she swears and thinks they are truly in love. Meanwhile, the man suggests that they sign a prenuptial agreement. The main character does just that and understands that from this moment on she needs to be on her guard. Now her long-awaited revenge begins. The priest solemnly pronounces them husband and wife. A short time later, Irina's brother insists that since their father is away, he should at least speak with the Archduke. The brunette says that his brother-in-law can speak to him as he pleases, but the lady's brother gets angry and asks what he just called him. Valentine understands that this guy just got married, and already calls him brother-in-law, and what kind of sly fox is this? The blonde claims that he still managed to restrain himself in front of his father, but he had never seen a nobleman get married so quickly in his life. He also cries out that this is of course if the Duke did not threaten his innocent sister. The main character replies that everything is not so, and the brunette claims that they are simply right for each other. But Valentine cries out, "Is this really happening again?" and tells the boy not to call him that, since he's younger than him. The Archduke replies that he and Irina are already married, and asks if that's logical. Well, the young man asks if this is really true, and also suggests that they simply get a divorce. The main character, watching these two, understands that they are about to tear each other apart. After which, she says that her brother is like this because he loves her too much, and also takes him by the hand and offers to go outside for a minute. When the girl takes her brother outside, she asks what's the matter, and whether he didn't come to congratulate her. But the guy replies that he wouldn't do anything and asks if the girl doesn't know what kind of man the Archduke is. He thought the girl was being forced into marriage, which is why he came to help her escape. Well, that idiot also said they were right for each other. The main character tries to reassure her brother, but he insists that she should date someone like him. He also does not understand how such an innocent girl can live with such a demon, and the main character wonders how her brother is any different from him. She also tells her brother not to worry and asks if he will come to save her if something happens. The guy replies that of course and asks if the lady really thinks that he will leave her alone. He also hands over a map, claiming he made it in case he couldn't stop her wedding. He's marked secret passages around the Archduchy. If the lady suddenly feels danger, then let her run as fast as she can and he will definitely take her away. Irina realizes that she is even a little touched, after which she thanks her brother. He speaks. Regarding her request for the slime's location, the protagonist wonders if he's actually found the slime, but the guy claims that a soldier patrolling the area told him he saw an unusual slime, and he looked like her boyfriend. The main character then asks her brother to tell her more. The guy claims it was a big blue slime, and the soldier said it had wounds on its body. Instead of a red liquid, a liquid similar to water flowed out of it, but the main distinguishing feature is the scar under the eye. Irina understands that the slime also had it and wonders if they really started hunting him. The guy nods and claims that then the forest suddenly caught fire, so they had to retreat. The main character asks how this happened, and the guy replies that they also did not understand what caused it. But he has the feeling that someone deliberately caused the fire with the help of magic. Irina asks what about the slime and how he couldn't have escaped with such wounds. The boy claims that given the speed of the flames, his chances of survival are slim, but he was heading toward the Archduke's estate. The main character, shocked, asks where he was headed, and he claims she did tell him to flee north, but her brother says maybe he was instinctively looking for a place to enter eternal sleep. Or perhaps he considered the Archduchy a better haven than the north. Valentine turns to Irina and affirms that he understands how worried she is about the layers of Ka and apologizes for such news. But the main character asks him not to apologize and claims that she may seem stupid, but she still believes that the slime is alive and well. The girl understands that he is special and may have survived the fire. At least, that's what she wants to believe. The blonde insists he was an unusual guy, so maybe he survived. He also asks if she'll continue searching for him, and the main character replies that even that answer is enough. Irina realizes that Halcyon is also looking for him, and maybe he'll give her better news. The guy says that it's good and he understood her, and also that he'll find her some smarter slimes. After which the girl just smiles and tells him to stop, and also thanks him. Because her brother didn't forget her request, the guy then asks if she thanks him. And she claims that the lady sees that men like her brother are the best. He also asks what about a reward for him, and the main character thinks and realizes that she has something. Since she no longer has any use for this item, she gives it to Valentine. The protagonist hands it to her brother, who asks what it is. Irina replies that this is his reward and understands that the brainwashing from Duke Sorty is very powerful, so this thing can help a little. Valentine asks what she is doing, and the main character replies that it is a very expensive thing, and she guarded it her entire life, after which the guy declares that he promises to keep it safe until he falls into eternal sleep. Valentine also claims that he has something he would like to give her. True, it still needs to be found. The guy promises to get her an antidote, but the main character tells her brother that everything is fine. And she also won't fall into eternal sleep so easily, and adds in her thoughts that it's because she already knows where it is. After this, the young man sighs heavily and says that both then and now his little sister is so naive, and how hard it will be for her to be married to a war demon. The main character asks her brother to stop. After all, she's already married him and wonders how long he'll resist. The young man then says that it's fine, but if the sister wants to get a divorce, then she should just tell him and the brother will decide everything. Irina smiles and says she'll definitely tell him about it. A little while later, they return to the church. Ruslan asks if they're done yet, and the main character replies yes, and thanks him for waiting. Ruslan says it's okay, and he's not against their get-together with his brother-in-law. The guy also approaches Irina and claims that they are now a real married couple. The main character asks if he talks about her as his wife, and the guy replies that yes. And he also asks if it wouldn't be more correct to call her that since they are already married. The brunette asks if he made a mistake in something, and the main character replies that he doesn't answer, it's just a little embarrassing. After which the young man smiles and asserts that he never intended to be a husband in words alone. It is important for him to fulfill his marital duties properly, so the wife can count on him. This makes the main character a little uneasy, wondering if he's talking about marital duty. Valentine immediately cries out, "Is it really possible to allow oneself such conversations in a sacred place?" He also takes his sister by the hand and states that when Irina is ready to go north, he will send a messenger, and now they will go. When the two leave, the brunette only puts his hand on his heart, which is beating very quickly, and he realizes that they are finally married. A little while later, the lady tells the Archduke to wait. Well, the guy just asks if the lady is afraid of him and answers that she is not, and it's just her first time, and she's also completely inexperienced. The guy replies that there's no need to worry about such trifles. After all, he will take care of everything, so let the lady not worry, because as he said, he wants to be her husband, not only on paper. He wants to live up to his wife's expectations as much as possible. Irina asks what he's talking about, after which the guy approaches her and the main character puts her hand on his chest. But at the same moment, she thinks why she is so soft, and at the same moment, the lady sees a slime in front of her. At that very moment, the girl wakes up and screams out what kind of strange dream this is. And why did the slime appear at just that moment? The girl understands that it was such a moving scene. And after the wedding ceremony, she has these dreams every night, though she doesn't mind. A little while later, the maids are running around more quickly, and one of them insists they must finish everything before the Archduke arrives. One of them asks where the new bed linen is, and the other replies that Marie will bring it now. But the maid claims that the new carpet has not yet been delivered and asks what to do. Her interlocutor replies that she will check now, and if the blanket arrives, let them shoot it. The magicians in the castle are also restoring order, and one of the servants claims that the mansion has not been so crowded for a long time. The woman replies that this is true because the Duke even asked the magicians to cast a warming spell on all the walls of the mansion for the lady. This had not happened since her time in service to Archduchess Olga, and now the mansion felt somehow hot. But the butler says that she doesn't seem to like these changes, and after that the woman remains silent for a while. And then she claims that at first she was pleased with the arrival of the lady, and that the gentleman had spent so much time and health on these wars. And then he decided to get married, and this made her happy, and also reminded her of his parents. Well, she still doesn't understand why it should be specifically for the daughter of the Duke of Sorty. You wouldn't want to see something like this even in your worst nightmare. And if the guy's ancestors were alive, they would be furious. But the butler claims that he understands her concerns, but what's done is done. And besides, the Duke is not the kind of person who does something thoughtlessly, and he definitely has a plan, so they should stay on his side. He just hopes that everything will work out for him, but the woman says how annoying it all is and claims that she will go on with her business. At this time, another maid was watching them, after which she went to Mrs. Nadezhda. The woman asked the girl what she wanted, since she was busy. Maria replied that she had news. And inside the mansion it is now warm, because the wizards are casting a temperature spell. The Archduke ordered this to be done for the arrival of the lady. The woman asks what all this is about, and Maria replies that they say the lady is in poor health. After which the lady sighs and says that the mansion is her territory, and her brother didn't even ask her. Maria asks if she should be ordered to stop this, but the lady replies that no, and that she should just forget about it. The woman claims they are turning the northern mansion into a greenhouse, and asks if it is not fun. She also understands that when she found out that this guy was marrying the daughter of the Duke of Sorty, she thought that it was a marriage of convenience. And what's more, he even started spending the budget that was until the end of the year, although he hadn't even touched it before, so the lady doesn't understand what he's even thinking about. She doesn't like this at all, because what she worked so hard on is now falling apart. The woman also turns to Maria and tells her to observe the situation and report to her about everything the girl agrees to. The lady with black hair understands that she will not give the mansion to Irina Sordia. No way. The main character is heading off in a carriage at this point, and someone announces that they will soon arrive at the Archduchy. The main character looks out the window and realizes that she sees Ruslan's mansion. A little while later, she gets out of the carriage and addresses the Archduke. Afterwards, the guy greets her and congratulates her on her arrival in the north. He also says that the lady has come such a long way, and the main character thanks him for waiting. She also points to Bella, not claiming she will stay there with her. The red-haired lady bows and asserts that she would be happy to serve. The main character after Togo shivers and claims that it is much colder in the north than she expected. The brunette claims that since the lady has a weak body, the cold will be felt much more strongly. He also takes the girl's hand and says she's so cold. The guy claims they've insulated the mansion for her, so he offers to come in. The main character asks if they used magic, to which the guy replies that that's not all. After all, she can go inside and like it. A little while later, the main character enters the estate and says it's so warm there. The guy claims that the temperature there, of course, is not the same as in her homeland, but they tried to provide warmth. After which the lady smiles and thanks the Archduke, because he took such care of this, and she will be able to live in comfort. The young man smiles and says he hopes so. Meanwhile, the servants greet Her Highness the Archduchess. The man claims to be a butler named Gregory, and the woman standing next to him says she is the head maid named Olga. The brunette turns to his wife and claims that these two have long served the Archduke's family and can be trusted with anything. Irina asks if this is true and asks him to take care of her, to which she replies that if you need them, you can call them any time. At the same moment, someone else cries out to His Highness the Archduke and then even sees the Archduchess. He welcomes her to the north, and the main character asks if this is Assistant Vasily and says that she is glad to meet him. The young man, smiling, says it's such an honor that the lady remembers his name and, thanks to Her Highness, the mansion is now so beautiful and warm. Although he's a northerner, he doesn't like the cold at all. Meanwhile, the brunette suggests Vasily stop chatting and tell him what he really wanted. The guy claims that the patrol squad arrived with an urgent report and the gentleman should now go to the office. The young man sighs after this and claims he wanted to show his wife the mansion in person, but it can't be helped. Irina tells the Archduke that everything is fine and he can hurry up. The guy then turns to Gregory and tells him to take care of the lady while he is busy, and also show her the mansion, to which the man agrees and also asks the Archdukes to allow him to accompany her. At this time, Irina looks after her husband and realizes that she is so touched by his concerns. A little while later, the butler finishes introducing Ari's mansion. He says the lady has come such a long way, so she's probably tired, and he asks if he should escort her to her room. Irina replies that yes, that would be wonderful. Well then, the main character wonders, what if this room is for the two of them? The girl also apologizes and asks, isn't this a room for newlyweds? To which the butler replies that he can't answer, because according to northern tradition, the lady will live in the guest room for the first time. She can take a break from the move and relax. The main character says that's how it is and thinks it's a good thing. After that dream, she was a little worried about them sleeping in the same bed. Well, the butler says that if the lady is disappointed, then maybe he should talk to His Highness, to which the main character replies that there is no need. A short time later, the butler shows the lady to her room and says they'll serve dinner there so she can rest, but he declines. The heroine thanks him. Then he turns to Bella. The red-haired lady insists that Despite her fears of shyness, people are so friendly. And when the main character takes off her jacket, she immediately falls onto the bed and says that the bed is so soft, so it's wonderful. The maid replies that yes, all their beds were hard, but at that very moment, someone knocks on the door and asks for forgiveness. Bella immediately gets out of bed and heads to the door, after which she opens it. The woman who enters the room thanks her and then greets the Archduchess and states that she is the Archduke's younger sister named Nadezhda. Irina says that she is pleased to meet you, and the lady states that she understands that the Archduchess is very tired. Well, she came to tell me something important. The main character asks what she's talking about. The woman replies that this is a very important conversation, so she asks if the maid could leave them for a while, to which she agrees. After which he leaves, and the brunette turns to the lady and claims that she heard that Lady Irina never left the Duchy of Sorty. The girl replies that yes, and that's true, and that although she's better now, she was weak before. The woman claims that she thought that a person like her in the Duchess's place would have to face many difficulties. She took over the duties of her mother, who was the previous Duchess. So she asks how the lady feels about her continuing to play the role of Archduchess. The woman also thinks that Irina Sordia should try to answer. She wonders if the girl really wants to become an Archduchess, but the main character only smiles. And he asks why the lady is so nice. In fact, she was so worried because with her condition she can't work hard yet, and she knows little about the situation here. So how good it is that the lady who led the Archduchy for so long took this upon herself. The girl is only angry about this and wonders if Irina Sordi really became an Archduchess with such a mindset, and how dare she even consider herself part of this family. A short time later, the brunette bursts into a room and begs for forgiveness. A servant turns to his mistress and asks what's going on. The butler wondered if she was looking for him as he was just about to go see her, but the woman merely turned to Vasily and asked if he would leave them alone for a moment. After all, she needs to discuss something important with the Archduke. When the servant leaves, the brunette asks his sister what happened. But the girl only turns to her brother and asks what to do, since she cannot accept the Archduchess. The guy asks what she means, and his sister replies that she thinks she should express herself more precisely. Irina Sordi has no right to manage this house, but the guy is wondering if she now understands what she wants to say. However, the girl asks if he has ever thought about what it would be like to accept the Duke's daughter as the Archduchess of his house. When she first heard the news of his wedding, she thought it was a marriage of convenience so that the Sordi family would no longer send spies. But now, he spends the entire budget on one person and Irina doesn't care about their family, and how can she accept her? And isn't he at all ashamed in front of his parents, who have plunged into eternal sleep? But at the same moment, the guy turns to Nadezhda and claims that he sincerely wanted to marry her. The girl screams, "Is it really Irina Sordi?" And the guy replies that she is now Alexieva. The brunette asks if her brother is serious. The guy replies that she's a sweet, kind, and fragile girl. Therefore, let his sister stop seeing her as only the Duke's daughter, and if she does not change her mind, he'll consider this a rejection of his family. Nadezhda is furious after this and wonders if he really just put this girl above her, but she values their family more than anyone else. After this, the brunette says that okay, they will look, but if she was not mistaken, then this girl will never be able to survive in this house. So let your brother keep that in mind. The main character is lying in bed at this time, wondering when food will be brought, because she's so hungry. At the same moment, the lady smells a pleasant smell and hears someone knocking. Irina asks who is there, and the man standing behind the door addresses her as his wife and claims that it is him. The girl opens the door and asks how this is possible, because he said that he had a lot of things to do, so she thought that they would not see each other today. The guy replies that no matter how much work he has, he will never make her eat alone. That's why he specifically ordered the food to be served there. The main character is surprised and says that's where the smell was coming from. Irina thanks him and claims she's hungry, and the guy says that's great, then orders the food to be brought in. The maids agree, and the main character in the video thinks they're just like the one Slime brought her. Come to think of it, first there was the lilac and then these dishes, and when she's around the Archduke, she often thinks about the slime. Meanwhile, the brunette tells the maids he'll call them if needed, but for now, let them go out so his wife can eat in comfort. When the maids leave, the guy tells the lady to sit down, and she thanks him, after which the brunette offers to try the dishes. When the main character tries one of the soups, she thinks how delicious it is. Ruslan asks if she likes it, to which the girl replies, yes, and it's very tasty. The brunette claims that if his wife is happy, then he too, the one-headed heroine, thinks that this is so strange because she knows that it is impossible, but Ruslan looks very much like a slime. The guy notices the lady's gaze on him and asks if there's something on his face. Irina immediately replies that she doesn't, and the guy says she was just staring. The main character claims that, In fact, when she looks at him, she remembers her old friend, who was a very smart and sweet child. Back then, only his kindness warmed her, and he's very similar to the Archduke. Ruslan then claims he's glad his soul has reached the ether and promises to be the best husband to his wife. A short time ago, the slime was crawling through the snow and realized he needed to protect Irina, and he would save her at any cost. The guy remembered the lady's kind smile, but at the same moment he felt pain in his wound, after which he finally reached the Archduke's estate, and when he saw the mansion, he felt even more pain and wondered if this was his end. Slime knew that if he had another chance, he would definitely become stronger and protect Irina with all his might. Now the brunette opens his eyes and shudders, after which he sighs and realizes that he had this dream again and he also needs to disappear for a while. A little while later, Bella comes into Irina's room. She apologizes and claims that today the Duke asked her to check whether she was taking poison. Irina says that everything is fine and let her give the poison. When Bella wants to object, the main character claims that she did say that she has nothing to worry about. So let her believe her, after which, the main character knocks out the mug of poison. The lady understands that 4 petals are blooming on her wrist and that she needs to neutralize them before the demon appears. Archduke Ruslan has left the palace to conduct inspections, and this opportunity must be taken advantage of. The main character asks Bella if she can call the head butler, to which the girl agrees. A little while later, the man approaches the lady and asks if she called him, and the main character replies that she did and thanks him for coming. The man insists she doesn't have to address him so respectfully every time, and the main character smiles, saying she's just not used to it yet. The butler asks the lady to address him as she pleases. She agrees, but insists she needs his help. The man asks how he can be of service to his mistress, and the girl replies that since she is now an archduchess, she should pay respect to her ancestors. The man is then surprised and asks if the lady really wants him to take her to the forest, which is a cemetery for her ancestors, to which she replies that she does. The butler then apologizes, but asks if the lady knows what this place is. Irina replies that yes, it is a sacred place for their ancestors. The man says that everything is correct, however, there are a lot of demons there and the Archduke has not destroyed them all yet, so the lady should not go alone in such dangerous places, and if she wants to pay tribute to her ancestors, then she can do that there too. But the lady replies that this is wrong and that danger does not relieve her of her duties as Archduchess. This is an order, so let the butler escort her there. The man understands that on the outside this girl looks very fragile, but inside she is incredibly strong, and of course His Highness did not fall in love with an ordinary girl, but he cannot accompany her there. After which the butler asks for forgiveness from Her Highness, but claims that he cannot take her there because it is too dangerous a place and it is as difficult to enter as it is to exit. To enter it you need a key, and at the moment it belongs to Lady Nadezhda, who is a blood relative of the Archduke. Irina wonders if he's talking about the key. She thought finding the entrance to the forest would be enough, but it wasn't that simple. Well, then she has no choice but to get hold of the key. Irina says she understands and will talk to the lady herself. The brunette sighs, realizing they're even short on money. Her brother spent too much on exorcising demons and then started renovating, and their budget is completely exhausted. At that moment, someone knocks on the lady's door and asks if she can come in for a moment. The woman replies yes. When the maid enters, Nadezhda asks what happened. Maria replies that Her Highness wishes to meet her. The brunette realized she was wondering what the girl wanted from her, and whether she really wanted to take over the household chores, since that was all she needed. Nadezhda told the girl to take her to the living room, since she'd be right there. A short time later, the lady enters the protagonist's room and greets Her Highness. Irina also wishes her good morning, and the brunette inquires about what brought her here so early in the morning. Irina replies that she came to ask her for a favor, and only she can help her with it. The brunette realizes that's what she thought, and now this lady will most likely ask. But before the girl can finish her thought, the protagonist asks for help getting into the forest of the undead. The brunette is surprised and asks why the lady is going there, but the protagonist replies that now that she's entered Ruslan's house, she should pay her respects to her ancestors. The brunette wonders why this is happening, and the main character replies that to get there, she needs the key kept by Lady Hope. The brunette then asks if she really wants to go there and if she knows what kind of place it is. But then the girl smirks and realizes that this is her chance. She claims that on behalf of their family she wants to thank her, and she is sure that her ancestors will be touched by her actions. Irina insists there's nothing wrong with that, and that it's her duty, so let the lady accept her gratitude. The brunette smiles and says no, because she'll be much more grateful later. A little while later, the brunette is already helping the lady open the gates to this forest, and the main character understands that this is where the forest of the living is located, and it is not for nothing that it is described so gloomy. But now the lady thinks she feels even better, and she seems to be walking into the forest of the undead, her soul so calm. The brunette then says she completely forgot, because she still has things to do. She's also afraid the lady will have to go alone. The main character just smiles and says that everything is fine, because she can handle it herself so the lady can go, but the brunette asks if everything will be alright. Irina replies that of course, she will be back soon, and the girl wonders where she got such courage from. A short time later, the main character is already walking through the forest, thinking that there must be an antidote somewhere, but she doesn't know the exact location. Well, no big deal, she never knows when she might get another chance like this. Now the Duke has left, and Nadezhda is unlikely to agree to open the gates again, so it's time to begin the search. Thanks to Kalinda's poison, she can merge with the forest's Laura, so the demons shouldn't notice her. Now that the risk is minimal, there's no need to rush. A little while later, the girl sees some interesting fruit and wonders if it has any effect. Then she sees even more interesting plants. A little while later, the lady sighs and realizes that she has finally collected everything that interested her. The protagonist takes out Halcyon's magic pouch and silently thanks him. As she continues through the forest, she wonders how much is out there, but she doesn't see the antidote. The lady also understands that she needs to leave before the sun sets, but at the same moment she notices something else and sees that it is a tree, and it also looks like it is very old. The girl decides to take a closer look and realizes that she didn't know there was such an old tree there. The girl also looks at one of the fruits and realizes she's never seen anything like it before, and as far as she remembers, the antidote is in the golden glowing fruits, so she should take them just in case. But at that very moment, the lady hears another sound and wonders what it is. Then she sees a snake in front of her and is surprised. The snake is about to attack her, and the main character wonders if it's a snake or a monster. After this, the creature crawls towards the lady, and the main character wonders what will happen next. She needs to run, but her body won't obey her, and then the girl closes her eyes and realizes she's finished. Well, when nothing happens, the lady only feels something poking her arm. It turns out to be a snake, and the girl immediately removes her hand, panicking and screaming for it to go away. The creature immediately crawls back, and the main character wonders if she really understands it. Irina asks if she tried to attack her, but the snake just turns around and slithers off. The girl realizes the snake is calling her to follow, but she doesn't know where it's going. Irina follows her, wondering if the snake really wants her to look there. When she does, she notices a light and wonders if the tree is glowing. Then the main character sees the golden fruit and understands that there can be no mistake. It is definitely an antidote, and as far as she knows, with its help you can not only remove the poison from the body, but also restore strength, so she needs to eat it quickly. When the main character does this, the petals on her wrist begin to disappear, and the girl says that finally now she can become the strongest. But at that very moment, she feels herself begin to lose consciousness and fall to the floor. A short time later, the lady opens her eyes and clutches her head, wondering if she's really lost consciousness. The lady looks around, wondering where the snake went, and whether it's really disappeared. The tree no longer glows. The protagonist feels a light spreading within her, wondering if this power is a divine blessing. If she learns to control it, she'll become the strongest in the world, so she needs to start training soon. The girl realizes she needs to go back before it gets completely dark. Well, as she heads through the forest, she thinks she's going the wrong way. She takes a couple more turns. She realizes she's lost and wonders if she's taken a wrong turn. The sun is almost set. At that very moment, she hears someone approaching her, breaking a branch. Irina wonders if it's a monster and realizes she'd better keep her distance. Just then, she hears a very familiar sound, and when she turns around, she hears it. She then realizes that this creature has a round blue body and a scar under its eye, after which she asks if it is Slime-Ike. The main character realizes it's definitely him, meaning he really was heading for Ruslan's estate. The girl immediately joyfully addresses the slime, but he only screams in anger. Irina wonders why he is angry and whether he has really forgotten her, and then the main character says that it was her. Slime merely touches her hand and asks what the lady is doing alone in such a dangerous place. Irina realizes that, thank goodness, he remembers her, and claims she was simply looking for something. But then the girl screams, wondering where he came from. And didn't she tell him to go to Chaco Forest? After which, the girl asks if he even knows how long she's been looking for him. The slime then simply crosses his arms, and the main character wonders if this means he doesn't want to answer. After which, she actually picks him up and says, well, okay, the main thing is that they met. Slime then waves his arms shyly, and the main characters claim she missed him. She asks if he missed her too. He sadly replies that he missed her too, but it's not time yet. Irina asks what that means, after which the slime jumps away, and the main character screams, where is he going? Then asks her to wait and runs after him. Irina, out of breath, wonders why he's running away, and she thought the slime would be happy to see her. The girl wonders if he's uncomfortable with her, and when she blinks again, she realizes she's missed him. The lady wonders where he went, but at that moment, someone calls out to the mistress. When the girl turns around, she sees it's the butler. The man says she's finally out. Irina wonders if the slime was leading her to the forest exit and asks the butler if he was waiting for her, to which he replies that he was worried because she'd been gone for so long. He's also glad that everything is fine. The main character apologizes for making him worry, and the man says that Mrs. Nadezhda was worried too, so she should hurry up and come inside. The main character asks if this is true. After she moves on, she turns to the forest and thinks that she doesn't know why the slime ran away from her, but she is sure that this was not their last meeting. A short time later, the main character is already at the estate, and the maid asks where she's been as all her clothes are covered in mud. Irina replies that it's a secret. At the same moment, the Archduke returns to the estate, and the butler greets him, but the guy turns to Gregory and claims that, apparently, his wife was in the forest of the undead. After this, the butler wants to say something to the master, but the brunette only asks if Nadezhda had the key to the forest. After all, if that's the case, then let him call her into his office, to which the butler agrees, and the main character at this time observes all this from behind the column. A little while later, Nadezhda wonders how her brother knew that this girl had gone into the forest and who knew she spent so much time there. Then the lady finally decides to go into her brother's office and claims it was her. She also heard him calling her. The guy claims his wife was in the forest of the undead and wonders if Nadezhda really let her in. The brunette then claims the Archduchess expressed a desire to go into the forest, so how could she refuse her? The guy approaches his sister and insists that she knew how dangerous this place was and still let her in. Nadezhda doesn't even know what to say to that, but at that moment, someone knocks on the door. The main character opens it and apologizes for interrupting their conversation. The guy asks if it's his wife, and the main character asks him not to be too harsh on the Archduchess, as she has done nothing wrong. The butler warned her that it was dangerous there, but she still insisted on her own, so she apologizes and claims that it was reckless on her part. Ruslan wants to say something else after this, but the girl turns to Lady Nadezhda and insists that she will speak with the Archduke herself. The brunette simply asks why, and then adds, in her mind, why the lady is helping her. The main character merely looks at her, causing the girl to flinch and insists that she'll leave them then, and then she walks away. Irina sighs even after that, but at that moment, the brunette approaches her, and the main character realizes that not only did she go into the forbidden forest, but she also interrupted their conversation. So, he's probably angry, but then the guy asks why the girl is defending Nadezhda. He's glad his wife is okay, but her outing could have ended worse. The main character realizes he doesn't seem angry at all, and rather the opposite. So she asks if he was really worried about her, to which he replies, "Of course." Irina asks why he always cares about her so much and worries. The guy is a little embarrassed by this and says it's because the lady is very dear to him. The girl is only embarrassed and wonders what he's saying. People understand that he said it so suddenly. Well, she still understands that it's somehow strange, since she was so desperate to survive that she didn't pay any attention to it. However, she doesn't understand why Archduke Ruslan is so favorably disposed toward her, since that wasn't the case in the original. If you think about it, he showed interest in her from the very first meeting, as if he knew her well. The main character then turns to the Duke and asks if they have met before, because it seems she first met him at the victory ceremony, and since then he has been exceptionally kind to her, and on their second meeting, he suddenly proposed to marry him. The main character asks if it's possible he knew her back then, but he remains silent and then claims yes, and that they've seen each other before. The girl asks if this is true, but then wonders when. The young man replies that it's a very long story, so he'll tell her about it later. Irina notices his expression and wants to say something, but the young man insists it's already quite late. So, to begin the marriage, it's best to rest. Irina then wants to add something else, but the guy insists he's afraid he has a lot of work to do and won't be able to escort her to her room, so he wishes her good night. And then he closes the door completely, and the main character realizes she's just been kicked out and wonders if she really is his loved one. Irina realizes that means they've already met once, but she can't quite remember when because she wouldn't mistake the main character for anyone else. At that moment, the protagonist notices someone else near her and asks if it's the Archduchess. She asks why the lady is still there, and the brunette replies that she has a question for Irina. The protagonist asks what it is, and she awkwardly says that she doesn't understand why the lady intervened because of her, and she is sure that the lady knew that she sent her into the forest not with the best intentions. Nadezhda realizes she probably has an ace up her sleeve, and the ladies will seize the opportunity and demand something. But the main character is only interested in what the ladies want. After all, she simply told the Archduke the truth. She opened the gates at her request, and most of all, she didn't want them to quarrel over her. Nadezhda asks if this is true, but the girl asks if something else is needed. Order doesn't understand whether the lady really intervened for that sole reason. She also understands that in her youth there were those who helped her when she suddenly found herself at the head of the family, and those who owe her a lot. Loyal supporters of the Archduke's family, and then there were the idiots who demanded payment right then and there. The lady thought this girl would also ask for payment, but this girl from the Sorty family was just like that, so she couldn't believe it. At this time, Irina sighs and asserts that she knows how much a lady values her family, and also understands that she doesn't like it because their families don't really get along. But now that she has become a part of this house, as Archduchess she will do everything possible for this family, and let Lady Nadezhda also believe and protect the family. The brunette then shakes the lady's hand and says they'll wait and see. Irina then says she'll go then and leaves. And Nadezhda, left alone, realizes it's been a while since anyone acknowledged her, and wonders if she'd misunderstood the girl. But at that very moment, the lady realized she needed to wake up. This girl was still of the Sorty family, so she couldn't relax. In any case, she'd need to find out more about her. A little while later, the blonde guy looks at the documents and asks if there really were 2 requests from the north. One is from their Irina asking for a higher price for some herbs, and the guy thinks how boring that is. The second is from Lady Nadezhda. The girl asks him to find out as much as possible about Archduchess Irina and compile a report. The young man understands that if it's about the Sordia family, he's already done his research, so all he has to do is sort out the information about Irina. He'd suspected something was wrong ever since the lady asked him to keep an eye on her father, but he'd never imagined she'd grown up in such an environment. To think that beneath the veneer of a sensible man like Duke Sorty, there lay a fanatic who abused children, and using devilish tricks. That's why the blonde thinks he's such a vile creature. He doesn't know what this man's goals are, but he has a bad feeling about it. A short while later, the servants at the estate are all hurrying somewhere. The main character, observing this, asks Bella if I'm imagining things and that the mansion is somehow noisy. Bella replies that it is. Irina asks if they're preparing for a reception, to which her companion replies that that would be wonderful. And yet he turns to Irina, asking if everything will be okay if she doesn't take the poison. She can hide this from the Duke for a while, but sooner or later he'll notice. Well, after that, Irina says that everything is fine and that Bella shouldn't worry, because everything will be fine and that she should just believe her and not worry about anything. After which the lady with red hair agrees and says that now the lady is the Archduchess and what can the Duke do to her. Irina realizes that now that she's consumed the poison and gained divine powers, she can stop taking it. But suddenly, she begins coughing, and Bella, shocked, turns to her, claiming that she's been coughing up a lot of red liquid lately, and wondering if it could be because of the poison. The main character replies that everything is fine, but the maid screams out what she is talking about and also asks to wait a little because she will bring the medicine right now. Irina then realizes that she had said everything was fine and understands that it's all over. After the poison was removed, she began to suffer from a cough, and she hopes it will go away on its own. What's more important is that she never learned to control this power. A little while later, Bella hands the girl some medicine and the protagonist thanks her. The red-haired lady asks if she's sure she doesn't want to see a doctor, to which she replies that she is, and that she doesn't feel any pain anymore. The girl also wonders how Ruslan used that power in the original, as it wasn't described in the book. Meanwhile, Bella remembers something else and claims that while she was getting her medicine, she learned it was today. But at that very moment, someone knocks on the door and says, "Mistress," that it's Olga, after which the main character tells her to come in. The maid immediately wishes her mistress a good day, and the main character also greets her and asks if something has happened. The woman replies that the newlyweds' room is ready and they have come to help her prepare for her wedding night. Irina, puzzled, asks what she said, but the woman only turns to the other maids and asks what they're worth, since they're already getting to work, to which they agree. They approach their mistress and tell her to rely on them. But the main character tells them to wait a minute and wonders why everything is happening so suddenly. Of course, it all made sense. But in this reality, for some reason, Archduke Ruslan liked it. On their wedding day, he even said he would fulfill his marital duties. And the novel was marked for adults, so she admits she's even curious about how good it will be. One of the maids tells the mistress that everything is ready. And when the girl looks in the mirror, she understands that in the end, the Archduke will stay with the main character, and that everything will be okay if they become closer. A short time later, the brunette is already standing outside the room and realizes that the moment has finally arrived. He knocks on the door and tells his wife it's him. The main character tells him to come in, and the guy tells his wife it's today. But when he sees the girl asking if he's there, he's speechless. The guy then approaches her, and the main character asks what's going on. The young man insists she looks great, and Irina thanks him, also claiming he looks great and that the hairstyle suits him very well. After this, the guy simply approaches his wife and asks if she minds if he comes closer, agreeing to something. After that, he kisses her neck, and when she shudders slightly, he asks if she's uncomfortable. Irina answers that no, and that she is simply ticklish, after which the lady continues to gaze into his beautiful blue eyes. And she realizes they seem so familiar to her. The guy kisses the lady's hand and then moves closer to her face. But when he's just a few centimeters from her lips, the main character begins coughing and screams for him to wait. The lady begins coughing up red liquid. Then she suddenly realizes why she was coughing in front of the Archduke and needs to think of something. The girl immediately turns to him and wants to say something, but the guy only extends a shaking hand toward her. And wiping her face, he asks why she still has the red liquid. It shouldn't hurt. Irina wonders at this point why his hands are shaking, and how could the man who destroyed all the monsters in the Empire really be afraid of the red liquid? Irina tells the Archduke she's fine, but the young man immediately hugs her, and the protagonist asks what's wrong, after which the young man suggests she stay like that for a while. When the lady hugs him back and closes her eyes, she understands that she was just as warm as she had been that day. A little while later, the lady once again said she was fine and that it was nothing serious. But the guy just wraps her in a blanket and then lays her down next to him and also says that the lady must be very tired today, so he suggests that it's better to rest, and they will wash the sheets later, to which the lady agrees. But she thinks why now? And it's all because of Duke Sorty. Well, if you think about it, this guy is the first person who stayed by her side in difficult times. The ladies approach the Archduke, but say he still hasn't told them when they last met, to which he replies that she should rest now because he'll tell them about it a little later. Irina asks if he promises, to which he replies that he does. The girl says she'll be waiting impatiently, but he just has to remember, otherwise her curiosity will consume her. The guy then insists he'll definitely tell her. The next morning, the protagonist opens her eyes and realizes she fell asleep there yesterday, and the Archduke was beside her. But when she looks at the spot next to her, she sees slimes and wonders if this is a dream. But at that very moment, she realizes it's not a dream. In shock, she reaches out to the slime, realizing it's soft. The creature opens its eyes and looks at the lady. The main character is shocked and asks if it's really him, and also wonders why he's there. The slime, meanwhile, awakens from sleep, after which he touches himself and realizes he's now a slime and screams. The main character asks when he arrived, and she hopes that this duke did not see him, after which the slime shakes his head and the girl understands that it means he left early and they were very lucky. Irina immediately asks why he came there and doesn't he know how dangerous it is since it's Archduke Ruslan's mansion. Putting some slime into eternal sleep is a piece of cake. The slime only makes sounds afterward. The main character wonders if he really wants to say something. The creature insists that Ruslan isn't creepy, but good. And the girl says he really was better than she imagined and treated her well. So she asks how he could know and if he's already met him. Slime just turns away after that, and the girl wonders if he doesn't want to talk again. Well, she's still wondering how Slime knows Ruslan and if the Archduke has been caring about him all this time. The lady understands that this can't be true, and that it doesn't look like the person who put all the monsters into eternal sleep. Still, the girl says she's glad and that it's good they met before her divorce. Slime then asks what she's talking about, and the lady insists it's Archduke Ruslan. He's supposed to be with the main character, and before that happens, she'll divorce him and take the slime with her. But after that, the baby just screams. The main character asks him why, after which he pretends there won't be a divorce, and the girl asks why he's against it, to which he replies, "It doesn't matter." Lady wonders if the slime has hit puberty, as it seems to have become much more capricious than before. At that moment, someone knocks on Irina's door and asks if she's awake yet. It's time for breakfast, but the main character tells her to wait a minute. The girl hides the slime under the bed and tells it to stay there and not to come out. Meanwhile, Bella turns to Irina again, confirming that she's on her way, then opens the door and tells the girl to come in. The red-haired lady wonders if the Archduke is really there, since she clearly heard the lady talking to someone. The girl replies that it can't be true and that maybe she misheard. Bella asks if she really thinks that, and the main character replies that she does. As she's about to go have breakfast, she turns to the bed and realizes she's hidden it, but she wonders if everything will be okay. A little while later, the brunette stands by the door, thinking about what happened a short time ago. She asked in shock if the Archduchess had been abused in the Sordia household. The girl thought this wasn't a story full of suffering and pain, and she'd heard that this lady was the Duke of Sordia's precious daughter. But could it really all be a lie? After which, the brunette asked if all this was true, to which the guy replied that of course it was. But the girl asked why the Duke treated his daughter so cruelly, to which the guy replied that most likely he wanted to use her for selfish purposes. However, it seems the Archduchess defied his will, and perhaps that's why she married into their family. This also explains her recent reckless act of going into the forest of the undead. Bratka wonders if this was Irina's way of trying to escape the Duke. After all, she mistook her for a puppet, and that was her mistake, so she should apologize to the Archduchess. Now the brunette is standing at her door, realizing that's why she came there, but she's wondering what to say. At that moment, someone turns to her from behind and asks what kind of meeting this is. It turns out to be the main character, and the brunette turns to her, after which the girl asks what brought her there and if Lady Nadezhda really has anything to say. The woman then begins to say the word, forgive. But at that very moment, she turns around and claims she was just passing by, and the protagonist wonders if she wasn't just standing in front of the door. Someone else says she probably wanted to apologize. When Irina turns around, she realizes it's Halcyon. The blonde guy greets her and says they haven't seen each other in a while. Irina asks why he's there, and the guy asks why not, and the girl tells him to hurry up and come in. Then she pushes him into the office. The guy says she's got plenty of strength, and the main character screams that she'd be terrified if anyone saw him. But the young man merely hands her a bag and claims he sold her herbs for a higher price. Irina asks if they've sold everything yet, to which the guy replies, of course. After all, he's a qualified master of the Information Guild. He also asks where the lady found such valuable herbs, and she replies that it's a secret. Meanwhile, the young man pulls out another paper and claims it's a report on Duke Sordy's activities. Irina thanks him, but the guy says he doesn't seem crazy and that the Duke is currently hunting demonic items and is also interested in the Archdemon's book. Shocked, the girl asks what he said and realizes that, in the original, her father started looking for her later. The young man claims he doesn't know why he needs her, but he doesn't like it. Irina then asks Halcyon if she can ask him for something. She then claims to know where to find a fake golem heart and wonders if he can get it and sell it to the Duke. Irina understands that this is what he originally used to summon the Archdemon, but if she replaces this heart, she can weaken the Archdemon's power. The guy hesitates for a moment, but with a smile on his face, he says it's fine, and that the post lady will trust him. Irina thanks him, and the guy claims he's glad this is it. The girl only smiles awkwardly in response, after which the blonde man turns to her again and approaches the lady. He is interested in how her married life is, because he was very upset when he found out that the lady was getting married. But at that very moment, the guy gets hit in the face by a slime. The main character is shocked and asks if it's really a slime. The girl also asks Halcyon if he's okay. The blonde replies that it's not quite right, and that this slime is small but has plenty of strength. The girl then turns to the slime and cries out, asking how they can suddenly attack people like that, but it only cries out in response. Halcyon insists he's fine and asks them not to fight, but he just feels weird. The guy looks at him with a lime and realizes that this is who Irina told him about, and this is the first time he's seen a sentient same, so it's interesting. When the slime notices the blonde guy looking at him, he glares back, and the guy realizes he doesn't seem to like him. He turns to the main character and asks if she asked him to find her, and it seems his help is no longer needed. The girl replies that yes, they met recently, and the guy claims that he is glad that the lady found her precious friend. The main character smiles and thanks him for his help in the search, but at that moment, the slime makes another sound, and the blonde man is startled. He then rises from his chair and says he'll go. Irina asks if he's already leaving, and the guy replies that he told her everything he wanted, and besides, if he stays even for a minute, he'll become the first person to fall into an eternal sleep from the slime. As he leaves, the blonde man wishes the lady good luck and claims he'll contact her again. The main character thanks him and wishes him luck too. Slime glares at him furiously, as if telling him not to come back. And when he closes the door, the main character, she exchanges glances with the slime. She asks how the slime could do such a thing to her, an innocent person, and how lucky it was Halcyon. What if it had been someone from the estate? The little one insists he's not talking about divorce and adultery, and the protagonist asks what he's talking about. She also asks if he's acting this way because of Halcyon, since, if so, he's just her friend. But the slime then turns to Irina and tells her not to leave him alone. She's a little surprised by this and then picks him up. And she asks the slime if she can leave without him, since they'll always be together. He asks if that's true, and the girl replies that of course, after which the little one tells her not to even think about lying to him, because if Irina leaves him, then he'll find this fool and destroy him with his own hands. The girl is surprised by this and wonders if he's really so worried about their long separation. The slime tells the girl it's strange because energy is emanating from her hands, and the girl claims it's divine power. She also asks if the slime remembers that she previously ingested poison and recently managed to rid herself of it and gain this power. But the girl puts her hand to her lips and insists it's a secret, since it originally belonged to the protagonist. The slime then sparkles and asks if she stole it from Ruslan. And she also says how clever she is. The girl then says that she really doesn't know how to control it yet and will have to ask the priest about it. But when the slime turns away, the main character asks what happened, and he replies that nothing happened. At this time, someone is walking through the temple, and when the girl hears someone screaming that they have refused to take the priests out for the umpteenth time, and also asking why His Excellency suddenly began to avoid the temple, the lady stops. After which, she even informs His Holiness that it is Kay, and the man is surprised and then asks if she is really there, to which the girl replies that, yes, she arrived today to observe the training. She also asks if something is wrong, and His Holiness asserts that Archduke Ruslan has again refused to visit them. Another man cries out that this is disrespectful to the temple, and they should lodge their protest through the emperor. His Holiness claims he doesn't understand why he suddenly began avoiding the church, and that he had to baptize a new dispersal. Kay asks if the high priest has already met the Archduke, to which he replies that he has, and that he was quite intimidating. The girl then asks what kind of person Irina Sordia is. The man asks if she's talking about the Archduchess, to which she replies, yes. He then claims he hasn't met her in person yet but has heard that they have a very good relationship. Kay realizes this is strange, because they weren't supposed to be together, and this is different from the future she knows. It seems Archduke Ruslan is blocking the priest's access, and she'll have to get to Irina Sordia herself. At this point, the slime turns to the lady and asks what she's doing on the balcony since it's cold. Irina claims she simply can't sleep because the Archduke has been gone all day and she's worried. This makes the slime shudder, then asks what if he's busy, and the lady replies that it's possible. After which, the slimy guy asks if she'll really wait for Ruslan, to which the girl replies that she will. He asks why. The main character replies that if he suddenly returns, she'll see him. But then the girl realizes that's not true, and claims that he actually just left without even saying anything to her, which is a bit hurtful. The girl also asks what he should do, since he'll be with the main character, and yet she's already become so attached to him. After this, the slime tells the girl not to worry, because the Archduke will not be with the main character, and Irina asks why, to which the slime replies that Archduke Ruslan loves her very much. Irina looks at him, a little surprised, wondering if the slime is trying to comfort her. Lady smiles and thanks him, claiming she always knew he was her only friend. She tugs at his cheeks, and the slime asks her to stop. Irina apologizes but says he's so sweet, to which he replies that it's not true, because he's cool. The girl then turns to the cool slime and claims that it looks like the Archduke won't be back today, so maybe they can sleep together, which makes him happy and immediately jumps onto the bed. When the main character lies down next to him, she wishes him good night and falls asleep next to him, and also thinks that when the Archduke returns, she will need to tell him about the slime, because if he is so kind to her, he should accept the slime. A little while later, the main character realizes it's so dark there, but she feels like someone is hugging her, and she wonders if the slime has covered her with something. However, when the girl opens her eyes, he sees the Archduke's in front of him and wonders in shock why he is there. And besides, why isn't he wearing any clothes? After the guy opens his eyes, the main character wonders if she woke him up and decides to pretend to be asleep. The guy then turns to his wife, but she pretends to be asleep. At that very moment, the young man kisses her forehead and wishes her sweet dreams, after which the world will be superimposed again and the main character understands that this was just a dream and now she can sleep again. The next morning, the girl opens her eyes and asks the slime monster why it's making so much noise so early in the morning. When she looks in the direction the sound is coming from, then she realizes it's the Archduke. The girl looks at him and wonders why the guy is getting dressed and also asks when he returned, to which he replies that he just did. The main character says that's understandable, then suddenly wonders where the slime went. When the girl looks around the room, she realizes that he is nowhere to be found. Well, they were together just yesterday, so where did he go? At this time, the brunette turns to his wife and asks if something has happened. And the girl wonders if the slime ran away because of the Archduke's return. Well, if not. Then the reason for his disappearance is the Archduke himself, and the girl approaches him, after which the guy asks what happened. Irina asks if he's seen a slime there by any chance, and the guy shudders after that. And then he looks away completely, but the lady asks for forgiveness for having brought him without asking. However, she claims that this slime is her precious friend, and she just wants to make sure just in case. After which, the lady imagines the worst possible outcome and swallows. And with tears in her eyes, she asks if he really put him into eternal sleep. The guy is surprised by this and then replies that of course not. The girl then asks if he knows where the slime went, to which the guy is about to answer something. Then he stops, clenches his fists, and sighs. Having collected his thoughts, he turns to Irina. And having decided to confess everything, he claims that he is her slime,